Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Getting everything set up here. There we go. Good to go. Good to go. And before we go another further, I got to say good morning to Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning, Raheem. Morning, little family. Good morning.
Good deal. Leonard, I asked you the question earlier, man, and we talked just a little bit about it. Man, what's going on with these Dallas Cowboy fans, man? Do they really need Dak that much?
Yes, they do. They
Mm-hmm.
really do. They the hope team. They hope they win.
Yeah.
They hopes was high when Dak came on the scene,
Yeah.
and they hope they win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't really follow Dallas that much, but a lot of professional teams, they usually win a fair amount of games, but it's hard to break 10. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to break 10. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't even think Dallas is one of them teams that normally break 10. Are they?
No. No.
But
But
yeah.
but you talk to them Dallas Cowboy fans, man, and they'll
Oh
tell
yeah,
you they'll
they
tell you
win
that.
us every night.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. America's team and blah blah blah. Come on, man. Well, if you're America's team, look at the condition America's in right now, and then you can see why your team is terrible. But
You're the home of Ted Cruz.
exactly, exactly. But them some diehard fans, man. Look at I can't stand them. But my thing is this right here, man. And we spoke about this a little bit ago, Leonard, about how Dak got hurt and a situation that happened with him. Very unfortunate, man. You don't wish that on nobody. But they went back and forth with this man. Didn't want to give him his money. Didn't want to pay him, and now he got hurt. So they rolled the dice, and unfortunately, right now the Cowboys won because they don't have to pay him the hundred million dollars that he was seeking. But at the same time, they're going to suffer. They're going to suffer greatly, man, because the quarterback they got from I can't remember what the guy name from Cincinnati. I can't remember what his name is, but Dalton, Andy Dalton. He ain't gonna be able to do it, bro. He ain't, he's not your answer. He's not your answer. And so they'll
It
start.
ain't, it ain't, it ain't like he got to do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
He
He
just
can,
got to be a professional quarterback.
but Leonard, he can't even do enough though. I mean,
Well, it just
they got
they need
Mollywop.
him right now.
Yeah.
They need him right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Now, Leonard, we got a topic we're gonna talk about today, and I'm gonna share it out there. And I want everybody else that's listening to the sound of my voice to share the broadcast as well. And what we're talking about is what do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school systems? The school system taught us so much, and I don't know if everything they taught us was the absolute truth. Good for anybody. We could say, well, was it good for black people, but I don't think it's really good for anybody because some of the things that they taught us wasn't all the way factual. One being that Christopher Columbus discovered America. That's one of the things that the school system has taught us, and we need to unlearn that, Leonard, because that's not factual. In all actuality, he really didn't. But what do you think is some of the things that we need to unlearn from the school system?
Well, let me first say I don't have a problem with the school system at all.
Mm-hmm.
I never have.
Mm-hmm.
School was just something I went to. I ain't have to go through there, but just to get a basic general education and
Mm-hmm.
then get out and live my life.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less what Christopher Columbus did. It don't even matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't know it was there and they was ignorant, to him he discovered it. Hoorah, who cares?
Mm-hmm. I
It,
think
it
I,
means
I think
nothing to me.
I think and that's your opinion, and I can't do nothing but respect your opinion. But I feel a little differently behind that, because and the reason why, because you're feeding these lies to our children, and you're sending them out to believe these situations, these things that they're perpetrating in the school system that are not true. I mean, and we tell our children, don't lie, always tell the truth. You don't need to lie, don't tell the truth, be honest and blase blase. But yet, and still, the school system are telling them things that are not true. They're teaching them things that are not
Well,
true.
it's very subjective. Lies are different than mistakes or what have you. Now, of course, everything that you hear in school is going to be subjective. Now, you can go and find it if yourself and challenge a teacher if you would like, but
Mm-hmm.
you should know. And if you don't know, that don't mean other people don't know. Christopher Columbus didn't know nothing about what was going on. So to him and the rest of that ignorant part of the world, they just finally discovered a place where people were already there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean he was the first to discover America, because he wasn't, and it's never taught that way.
Mm-hmm.
It was never taught
That
that
he
he
didn't.
first discovered America.
Yes, yes, it
Because
was.
he didn't.
No, well, it was taught that he did. It was taught in throughout the whole school system
Yes,
that
he
Christopher Columbus.
did,
Yeah.
but he wasn't first.
No, 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 no. And that's why I say it's a lie. And that's exactly why I say it's a lie, because he
But
didn't.
they do not teach him. They do not teach that Christopher Columbus was the first to discover America.
No.
They don't teach you that.
What they teach you is
They teach you he discovered America.
okay. First, second, third, they teach you that he discovered America, and that is deceptive. Even in that, that's very deceptive.
But it's European history.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're learning. You're learning history from a European perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it always was. It was nothing else. That's why it was never a big deal.
It's a huge
because
deal to me.
Everybody knew he wasn't the first to discover America.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what have you ever heard anybody in the school system, Leonard? And we got another call. We're going to go to the call as well. Have you ever heard anybody in the school system to challenge that? To challenge that while it's being taught?
Well, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I raised hell all my life like that. So this wasn't no big deal. And I'm still almost 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I got enough sense to go find things out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell my friends about it, so they're not ignorant. It's like this lie that folks keep pushing around for conversation's sake. I ain't never been in a black church taught Jesus was white.
Mm-hmm. That's another one. That's not necessarily in the school system.
And like I hear people say it, but I've never been in a church that does that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this: Have you ever been in a church? Have you ever been in a church, Leonard? Have you ever been in a church where they had a picture of the white Jesus on the wall?
Oh, not on the wall, on the fans and things like that.
Yeah.
And the little materials that they use in Bible classes and things of that nature. My grandmother had a Bible with black faces in it.
Mm-hmm. But my thing is this right here: is that not perpetrating the same lie that Jesus is a white man?
No, they're just doing what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Let me
just
go.
Like you do what you want to do.
I understand, but like I said, I don't agree. I think what that is doing is actually perpetrating the same lie that Jesus is this and Jesus, because they got a picture of him. Yeah, exactly. They have a picture of him being that way, and then
but
you
it never was a picture of Jesus. It never was.
Leonard, nobody looked at you. See, you do, but most people don't look that deep and understand that.
So
let me go to.
You have to think about stuff like that. So you ain't got enough sense to realize that when Jesus was around, wasn't nobody taking freaking pictures.
Again, Leonard, you think about stuff like that, but as a whole, most people don't. Most people don't even take the time to realize that, when they say that when he was being betrayed and they walked down into the valley where he was at, they had to kiss him on the cheek. And why did they have to kiss? Now, if Jesus was a white man in that climate, why would you have to kiss him on the cheek to identify who he was? You wouldn't have to. Just say, go get the white one. Go to the one that's a little lighter than the rest of them, and that's him. I don't have to go down there and kiss anybody on the cheek. So why did he have to go down there and kiss him? Why did you have to go down there and kiss him on the cheek? Because of the fact that Jesus looked like everybody else that was in that place, in that climate, in that surrounding at that particular time. So to identify him, he had to go down there and he said, the one that I kiss is the one.
Right.
I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you as well is most people don't look at it like that. I know what you're talking about. I'm with you. But my thing is, a lot of people don't take the time to understand and to look at it and to realize that, because he would not have to go down there and kiss somebody on the cheek. If they're making a Tarzan movie in Africa and somebody's looking for Tarzan, they don't have to go down there and kiss Tarzan on the cheek. Tarzan is the one that they depict as being the white guy. So why would I have to go kiss him on the cheek to identify who he is? I wouldn't have to. I said, go get the light skin one. That's him.
You ain't get no argument with me on that.
We got and see that.
I know a lot of people most people use it to keep you from being Christian. That's why they use that. Most black people use this reference to dissuade you from Christianity.
Exactly.
They don't use it to write the record. They use it to dissuade you from Christianity.
And see, my thing is, and Leonard, I know, you know me, you know my heart, man. I'm not trying to turn anybody away from Christianity. That's not what I'm trying to do. But at the same time, I don't want you walking around here saying that Jesus was a white man either. But then again, we did a documentary, and I asked that question, and you said at that time, well, if he was a black man, would it matter? Would it make you a different person? And so that was a very valid,
exactly.
that was a very valid question, because what difference would it make if he is? Now I know that he's not, and hopefully other
Right.
people know
But
that
see,
he's
a
not.
lot of people who claim, a lot of people who get stuck on Jesus as black usually have other issues. And then if you mention to them that, one, guess what? Other people had the gospel message as well. Now, the Chinese say they folk, the person that came to them looked like them. You got a certain religion say, well, some type of creature, blue, green, whatever. But this message is very well known. We call it the gospel of Jesus Christ because that's how we got it.
Exactly. Let me do this.
So
let me address the call. Let me address the caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Morning, Glow family. What's up, right here? It's Kurt, Charm City.
Kurt, what's going on?
What's up, man?
What's going on with you, Captain? Kurt, we're asking a question, man. What do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school system? Had the school system been teaching us properly and proper and exact, Curtis? We're talking right now about Christopher. They taught us that Christopher Columbus discovered America. We know that's not true, but yet and still the school system every day is teaching every child that come through elementary school. They're teaching them that. So what do we need to unlearn from the school system, Curtis?
Wow. I heard what y'all was talking about, right? Listen, I didn't learn that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America until I got into middle school. What we're having, what we're seeing right now, is people are trying to get away from the indoctrination of our children based on us. It was taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Hey, Kurt, your phone went very low, brother. We could barely hear you.
Yes, because I got this mask. I said, oh, thank you. You all have a great day. All right, brother. But then once you got to about middle school, I want to say like 6th grade, 7th grade, actually 7th grade. Once you got to 7th grade, then you had teachers who told you the truth, that Christopher Columbus did not discover America. He wound up in the West Indies, and the actual person that they credit for discovering America is Amerigo Vespucci.
Yes.
Which is an Italian.
Yes.
It's funny to me how, and just hear me out on this, but it's funny to me how was younger was that you had to have the money to go to higher levels of education. So it's funny to me how if you wanted the truth, here's the wicked American system. If you want the truth, that should be rendered to you. Hands down. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you better now. Much better. Go ahead. I was going to say something about that.
If you want, what bothers me is in America, in this wicked American system, if you want the truth, if you wanted the truth when we was growing up, in order for you to get the truth, you had to have the money to pay to get it. Because if you look at the educational system has constantly taught you one lie after the next. And as you move up in educational status, or as you move up in educational level, then you got a little more of the truth, and a little more of the truth, and a little more of the truth. So I guess my bigger question is, what was the purpose of you telling me this lie?
Come on.
What was the purpose? What was you trying to indoctrinate, or what was you trying to create? Over a series of years, decades, you made an entire culture or race of people feel like they had no input into anything in modern society. I mean, anything. Everything that was black was never told. Never told.
and it was almost hidden and hidden and or left out of the history books. But then, if you pay attention, the higher you go in education, meaning the more money you spend, all of certain levels of truth will be told to you, will be unveiled to you. Well, why is that? Is that because you have indoctrinated the mind from the start that says that I paid for this and that man didn't pay for it, so he don't deserve it, I'm smarter than him? Is that the indoctrination on the low? Is the idea here to give you the tools to exploit the same man that's been exploited over a course of years? And hopefully you'll be one of those to exploit them instead of enlightening them? I don't know, man. I don't know. And the idea that, like, I'm gonna keep it real. I never knew until I got older that Jesus was black or of a darker race. Because it never dawned on me. Most people don't search that deep. It never dawned on me. Hold on, man. I remember it hit me when I got it hit me when I got about 14 because I had started studying Islam. And outside of studying Islam, I grew up in a Christian household. And things started dawning on me because, we grew up in an era when it was, it was black liberation, you know what I mean? Like hip hop was all about, being black and being proud and having a good time and understanding who your ancestors was and stuff like that. But and then it dawned on me like, hold on, man, even in the conception, right? When the angel came to Joseph and told Joseph, hey, look, Herod's gonna try and kill your son, man. Yeah. Herod's gonna try and kill that boy. Pack her up, and y'all go down to Egypt. So then it dawned, never forget it, man. I was like 14 years old. I'm like, hold on. Now, if this boy, this man and this woman was right? Like they've been showing us over the years. Why would God send them to Egypt? Why not send them to Europe? Because at that time, going to Egypt, they stick out like a sore thumb. They stick out like a grain of rice in the midst of a bunch of pepper. So, the indoctrination of our kids, man, that's why man, look, I made it a point, even though a lot of my things are not reinforced at the local level. And even down there in Georgia, man, I'm so proud. I got some issues with that state, but I'm so proud of some of the things that state do. I'm so proud of that county councilwoman who I want to say in Marietta put that initiative on that ballot a year back, saying, look, the high school should offer some form of Black history all year round. It should be a 3 credit. I think she's 1 credit. It was either a 1 credit or 3 credit, a 1 hour or a 3 hour credit class. Just like you offer world history, you offer European history, American history. There should be a class set in the curriculum that deals with African American history. I'm so proud of that girl, even though the councilman voted it down. But I'm proud of her because I've been saying that for a long time. If you want to stop racism, and this is just my honest belief, if you want to stop racism, all you got to do is just teach the truth. Quit teaching these black kids and these white kids these lies.
Good deal. Let me
Quit
go.
it.
Exactly. Hold on, Kurt. Let me go back to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Nothing much. Just listening. For the very simple fact, I got a well-rounded education. I was a poor kid in a poor neighborhood.
Kurt, mute your line, Kurt.
And my people were not slave-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
So we wasn't sitting around worried about these quote lies, and we wasn't worried about arguing about them. I've known the writings of Diop, also John Clark, all these people.
Okay, we had some issues with Leonard line there.
Talk to me. These were things taught.
Then we have some issues with your line there, brother. Yeah, your line is coming in and out on me a little bit. Your line is fading out.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Leonard is from Saginaw, right?
Yes.
Leonard, you from Saginaw, right?
Having some issues with his line there, Kurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I've always been curious. It's been a long time since I've been to Saginaw. It's been a long time, so it escapes my memory exactly where Saginaw is. But yeah, right.
Gotcha. Okay. We got it back, Kurt.
Leonard, in terms of the state of Michigan, where is Saginaw located at? I haven't been there before, but it's been over 30 years ago.
75 north, about an hour and a half north of Detroit. Right after.
That's what I thought.
About 30 minutes north of Flint, Michigan, actually.
Okay, so you're slightly closer to Canada.
Oh yeah, most definitely. The Canada record.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Now, if I have some of the history right, I could be wrong. But Saginaw at one point was a hub to get runaway slaves into Canada. I could be wrong.
Yes, even
also,
Marquette, Michigan.
Okay. Also, Saginaw fed a lot of what they used to call, that they don't talk about, a lot of the people that went to Ottawa, the party, came out of Saginaw. A lot of the business owners that was in Ottawa actually came out of Saginaw.
Yeah, it was a place for wealthy people.
So Saginaw, okay. So Saginaw has a whole kind of different paradigm on black wealth, black success, although it's still, there's areas of poverty. Saginaw is one of those, I call it like a bridge state, a state that has been fighting the cause for years. No matter how poor, no matter how rich, we still gonna fight this cause, and we still gonna tell this truth.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you have to consider that in some other states, to fight that cause, it wasn't, oh, well, I might go to jail for 25 years, or I might go to jail for 30 years, I might be in jail for the rest of my life, but I'm going to live. It was death, and that's it. It was the murder and the mayhem of your whole entire family.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why people were there was because of work.
Hey, Leonard, your phone is real low, brother.
Hold on a second. The only reason why people were there was because of work and the military base and things of that nature. But you had people sharing, really trying to get ahead in life, as opposed to focusing on not getting ahead in life.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you went that way, you were going that way for opportunity. That's why you were there. So you did not focus on holding your own self back or anything of that nature. You went about getting what you could, getting the resources, and taking advantage of what was available. And it wasn't about what another person was doing to you. It was about what you were not doing for yourself.
Making that difference, making that positive difference in your life.
Yeah, see, if you teach me I'm a slave, and if you teach me I have no value, and if you teach me I'm less than, then a lot of times you will behave that way, and you won't even realize. And your mother and your parents will reinforce this foolishness. But the moment a child come home and say a white man discovered America, that parent should have corrected that. Because it is the family's responsibility to do this, not others.
But you're right, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna agree with you 100% when you say that. But at the same time, I always like to deal with the both sides of the coin. I say that all the time. And the other side of the coin is the schools should have a responsibility not to put out false narratives as well. They should have a responsibility. Now,
well,
yes,
you can't. But this is the thing about it. You have to also understand what that means when you say false, because that's not true. They never taught you that Christopher Columbus was the first to discover America.
See, Leonard, that's to me that's such a play on words, because from where I'm sitting and my background, they did teach that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Now I could be wrong, Curtis. Did they teach you that?
Kurt just said he didn't discover Jesus was black until he was grown.
Yeah.
Right? That don't mean he wasn't black before Chris discovered it.
Absolutely. But let me do this. Curtis, now from where I came from, and like maybe it's a southern thing, but they did teach me that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Did they teach you that, Curtis? Curtis, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, bro. To put Baltimore in this box with New York and New Jersey, it's not. I'm from the northernmost southern state. The only reason we was not a part of the Confederacy was because Lincoln paid the Maryland representatives not to secede. So let's just keep this thing 100. And no, you're right, Raheem. That's why I was saying you got to understand the dynamic. As you move to the South, that's what was taught. And in the mid, like the Midwest, but it's really not the Midwest. It's the big places like Texas. You got to understand that whole Christopher Columbus thing was, honestly, in my opinion, was used as a way to pacify the Mexicans. Yeah, it's a Spaniard discovered our country and blah, 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 blah. We pay respect to the Spaniard. Well, it was taught for years that I remember the first time I found out that Christopher Columbus did not discover America. I was in the 7th grade. And the teacher, she told us, she said, no, Christopher Columbus never discovered America. He never even stepped foot on American soil. He discovered it. Is what they used to make us take the California Achievement Test every year. The CAT test.
Yes.
And for years on the test, that was a question. Who discovered America? You had a multiple choice. Christopher Columbus was the right answer. Then once I hit the 7th grade, that answer changed. And Chris Columbus was still on in your multiple choice, but then there was a new name, Amerigo Vespucci. That's how America got its name.
Absolutely.
After the person who discovered a place where people had already been. Amerigo Vespucci. So I'm like, wow, hold on. Like, so now they teaching us that the country was not discovered by a Spaniard, it was discovered by an Italian.
Yeah.
So they're telling you on the low, they're telling us on the low that without telling us, they're telling us that America was discovered, and some Italian folks don't want to admit it, but America was discovered by a Negro. You understand? So, you know, like, you know, the lies that have been taught has been taught, like Leonard said earlier, in so many words, to promote a narrative. The reason why they've taught over the years that, I mean, listen, man, the psychology behind what has gone into this mix, as a black man, as a man, I have to say it's brilliant. I can't take nothing from it. Brilliant. What has happened is the history and the culture that has been taught nationwide has been taught to keep one culture or one race of people in a constant state of thinking that they're more capable and that they're more brave and that they're more patriotic and that they're more this and they're more that than any other race in this country. And the purpose for that is, if you can teach that they're superior, if you teach that to a child from the time that it's born, if you use visual, it's like if you got a child that suffers from really bad autism, a lot of times your learning tools are visual tools. You teach them the stove is hot by showing them a hot stove and showing them what happens if you touch the stove. You teach them how to wash their clothes by showing them in a color-coded thing, okay, this is cold, this is hot, this is warm, this is what you do. So the visual aid and the things that have been taught to keep one particular race at a certain level of superiority. And for us to deny that would be, that's crazy. That's denying an inconvenient truth.
Yeah.
It's inconvenient, but it's the truth. So like I gotta go with this.
How did they teach you who were the cowboys fighting then? How do you remember learning about Native Americans?
Well, for me, my grandmother on my mother's side was a Native American. My grandmother, if I'm not mistaken, was a Seminole. Either Seminole or what is it? What is it down there in Georgia? Chickasaw, Georgia, and Florida. Yeah. Seminoles and Chickasaw. You got the Cherokee as well. And Cherokee. So my grandmother was an Indian. If you look at my Facebook page, you'll see a picture of my great-great-grandfather. You'll see a picture of my great-grandfather or my great-grandfather holding what is my grandfather when my grandfather was born. And you'll see that, yeah, they are Africans, but you can also tell, hands down, that they are the results of the African slaves that ran and connected with the Indians, because a lot of people think that the African slaves, all of the slaves ran north. They didn't. No, a lot of slaves ran to the Indian reservations, where the Indians gave them shelter and comfort, and then they intermixed. So I learned about Indians a long time ago. My great grandfather, he went through his ill wills because, once again, white greed tried several times. Both of my grandmothers went through the same thing. White greed tried several times. My great grandfather in Georgia, right there in Georgia, owned over 200 acres of land.
Mm-hmm.
And greedy Caucasian folk tried their best to get my grandfather off his land down there. My grandfather was not having that. He was locked and loaded. He was not having it. Well, my great grandfather, he was not having it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if you look at my page and you see pictures of my grandmother, you can look at my grandmother and you can tell she's an Indian.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at my mother, you can look at my mother and tell that she's the product of Indians. So I learned about the Indian race and the Indian culture when I was very, very young.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When I was very, very young.
They didn't come from outer, you know, one of the people that believe they was from outer space.
Hey, Leonard, brother, your phone is acting up on us a little bit today. It's real low.
Yeah, I can barely hear you, Elder.
Yeah, your phone is real low, brother.
Maybe it's the mic. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's
but,
real. Mm-hmm.
It was just, I'm not sure, because I hear a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of times I just listen when it comes to that, because I would be lying if I said I was taught any different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think maybe there was a difference in the North, in the South, or what have you. But a lot of things that we were taught, it was a mixture of things required for a general education. A lot of my teachers were Black as well. So, and I went to a public school right in my neighborhood. I had a education I got in school, and I had an education I got in home.
Mm-hmm.
Home taught me my culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
School taught me everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't even understand why Black people even have a need and are so occupied with forcing the others to teach you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go get that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to the slave master to be taught who you are.
Yeah. Hey, brother. Hey,
well,
you got a point there, brother. You got a point there. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, y'all remember what Brother Malcolm said.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people thought that Malcolm was against integration because he had a dislike for white folk. They tied his disagreement to integration to his ideology that white folk were evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Malcolm said it plainly, and you very seldomly hear it, but Malcolm said it plainly. Malcolm's disagreement with integration was, if we integrate with them, they will then teach our kids how to be them. They will not teach our kids how to be themselves, which will cause for our children to assimilate. See, that whole integration thing, when you realistically think about it, it was brilliant to make it happen, because what happened was we integrated. After integration, the messages was taught, so then we assimilated. We didn't assimilate into something greater as Black people. We assimilated into them.
Mm-hmm.
Once we assimilated, then we desegregated all over again. But what we did was we desegregated.
Take a second and
community.
Explain that. Take a second and go. Perfect. Take a second and explain that. Explain what you mean with that.
Okay, so you integrated to assimilate. To assimilate means basically, in my mind, to become that which is prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a simulation means a change. So the change in mindset, you integrate it. So then you became closer to who they are. You took their lessons. You listened to their history. So you took all that. So you assimilated. Once you assimilated, then you started looking at other black folk who hadn't assimilated, like, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
So then what we did was we then desegregated again amongst our own culture to where now, oh, well, if you live out here in Baltimore County, I'm better than you because I live in Baltimore County and you live in Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
Losing touch of the reality that, hold on, before you assimilated, you was living right next door to me. You was eating the same beans and rice and grits for breakfast that I was eating. But because you assimilated and you accepted whatever this man threw out there as proper and right, that man gave you an access that he gave nobody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand? That
Yeah.
man gave you an access that he did not give any of your other people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do not take that access and allow for it to increase your people, then what do you have other than a complete division amongst your own kind? So that's how I kind of broke that thing down. I was sitting down one day. I was writing a play called Love Never Part,
Mm-hmm.
and the overall premise was these 8 slaves, 4 females and 4 males, were enslaved at the time of the emancipation.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe a week before Abe Lincoln signed the emancipation, the 4 males decided to run. So after the signing of the emancipation, a few years go by, the ladies decide that they're gonna go and they're going north, mainly because there was love there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so they go north to find these 4 guys, these 4 men, and in going north, they find out a bunch of things, you know what I mean? And they find out how the culture has been uh assimilated. They find out
Mm-hmm.
how, oh man, hold on, we was tighter
here, but to hear the question, what we need to unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, Raheem, that's an interesting question because the school system isn't exactly doing its job based on what the school system should have been.
Come on.
So as far as what we need to unlearn, I would probably say, actually, I wouldn't say it's what we need to unlearn, because when we are taught, we learn how to process information. So good or bad, even the Bible says that all things work together for the good. So I wouldn't necessarily say that there's anything we need to unlearn. There are some things that we probably need to learn more of. An example would be, I'm getting ready to do a paper on sensitive subjects. When Kurt made reference to the history, that they teach you their history. That's an ongoing discussion among scholars, in that history should be history. It should be true so that people know the history of the United States, can be better citizens and make more informed decisions based on the past history of the United States.
Absolutely.
And the problem is twofold, because teachers are supposed to be preparing curriculum, but they're the ones that yielding to the politicians, the parents, and the classroom, which causes, the contention when people hear about how it was little black children and white children learning things that they didn't really know. And for a while, it wasn't taught. So we need to learn that. And an example of that is going on in the streets now. Some of the explosiveness, the move behind some of the things with the Black Lives Matter pertain to some of the same things that children were not taught in school. Had it been taught, it probably wouldn't be the same level of, I'll say, ignorance that we're operating in right now. Most people, when they say they didn't know this, or this isn't right, or that isn't right, had they been taught properly America's history, it wouldn't be such a shock as it seemingly is right now for a lot of people.
Wow.
Oh, I'm glad Jamie said that. So I'm going on throw a jewel out here. Some folk might get upset at me, but it's okay, because y'all should have told the folk this a long time ago. Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. I want y'all honest answer. When have y'all ever known a Caucasian American brother to throw away his own money?
Never. Never.
Anybody? Jamie?
No.
You got
L-Dub?
I mean,
when have you ever known a Caucasian American man to throw away his own money?
When you say throw it away, what do you mean? Just waste it?
Just throw it away.
Oh,
just throw it away.
Alcohol, drugs, all kind of stuff.
I didn't say abuse it. I said throw it away.
Just throw it away. Just go in the garbage can and dump it in the trash can, and it's gone. That's what you mean?
Just throw it away.
Yeah, okay. I don't know nobody that do that.
Okay. So what you all want me to believe, that one of the most important things that was an aid to the Caucasian American wealth in America, you want me to believe that they dumped it in the harbor? That's what you want me to believe.
About the Boston Tea?
You want me to believe? Yeah, you know I'm talking about the Boston Tea Party. You want me to believe that these wealthy, rich European men, for a just cause, just dumped the one thing that makes them a lot of money. When you look at that area right there, you still had a whole lot of European thought, and Europeans love to do tea. So you want me to believe that they just decided that for a greater cause, we're going to dump all of this tea in the harbor, right? You want me to believe that they dumped all this tea in the harbor for a cause when there was no, if you go back and do the research, there was no messenger pigeons, and no messenger pigeons flew into the town.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that did never made it. They were killed. So now my question then becomes, well, what was really going on? What was really going on?
Mm-hmm.
See, there's certain things about history that they don't teach, because if they taught it, then it would give a certain level of pride to the African American diaspora in America. Just like you're taught Paul Revere is the Midnight Rider. When you hear the Midnight Rider, the first thing you think about is Paul Revere.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taught about the black guy who's the only one to live,
Mm-hmm.
that rode north to inform the people that the British was coming. You're taught about Paul Revere. You're not even taught that there were 4 Midnight Riders. There were 4.
Yeah, there were.
You see what I'm saying? There were
Mm-hmm.
4, and I believe 2 of which were black.
2 almost, absolutely.
You're not taught
absolutely.
that. You're not taught that even if we go with the lie of Christopher Columbus, black culture has not been taught that Columbus was basically a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
He was a nautical dummy.
Mm-hmm.
His navigator was black.
Yes.
You're not taught that the first one to see the West Indies, to call land, was the navigator. He was on the top of the tower on his ship, but it got the rounds. I forget what part of the ship they call it, but he looked out and told them, land ho, land ho.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not taught that.
Yeah.
You're not taught that. You're not taught that at least 7 signatures on the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights of the United States were the signatures of black men.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taught that.
So let me ask you this question, Curtis.
Became president.
Let me ask you this question, and if they were taught that, do you think it will make a difference in the way that we view certain individuals?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
If you're taught that okay, let me put it like this right here, psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
If I take you from the time that you are 3 years old,
mm-hmm.
and I shoot you these images and I teach you these lessons where your people have truly accomplished amazing feats and done amazing things, even in terms of your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If I taught that, Moses was a Negro.
Mm-hmm.
If I taught you that, and you're saying that Moses was given this power by God, he was directed by God and given this power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Psychologically, it'll do something to the people.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a guarantee.
Absolutely. We got a couple of callers. I want to touch these callers as well. We got a caller from the 318 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Glow.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, young lady. How you doing? We're asking the question. And
I'm doing great.
Good to have you back.
Kirk, hey, Leonard. Hey, Raheem. Get everybody else I don't know yet.
Good deal. Kristen, we're asking the question, what do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school systems? Had the school system taught us the absolute truth? What do we need to unlearn?
We unlearn hate. Unlearn hating ourselves. Unlearn hating our beauty. Unlearn hating our naturalness. Unlearn hating who we are as a people, and that our history is that of defeat, and that our history is bland. We didn't start with slavery. Slavery is not our beginning. We were kings and queens before slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And the Caucasian came from the mountains or in a cave. So we need to understand who we are as a people and realize that hyenas have come in and try to change the narrative to make you feel beneath when you are above. And we need to start teaching our children all the beauty of who we are before slavery, before Martin Luther King, before Rosa Parks before you get into the main people, because they teach about Martin, but they won't teach about Malcolm. They'll teach you about Rosa Parks, but they won't teach you about the first lady who was going to do the boycott, but because she was a single, unmarried parent, they didn't go with her. They went with Rosa Parks. You know, we have to learn who we are as a people, and once we learn who we are, make adjustments accordingly. So I think we need to unlearn the white American sensibility and start going into who we really are.
That's good. That's good. Let me go to Donna Toussaint. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Donna, you there? Donna Toussaint. Donna Toussaint, are you there, sir? Jamie, what's on your heart? We'll go back to Donna. What's on your heart, Jamie?
You know, I think the conversation is going a good direction, because some of what's being said here isn't about school. Because I think about, before I heard the portion about segregation, desegregation, before we supposedly got the so-called education that we're talking about right now, we had more going on. If you look at the scholars and the things that were being done to obtain supposedly the decision to actually desegregate, it ain't like we were idiots. There was some intelligence there. There was some things there apparently that were instilled in our ancestors, at that time, that propelled them forward to get to a point to strive for the accomplishment that we now are discussing. So when we look at that, it isn't like it was a matter of what they taught us that sent us the wrong direction. I would probably go back a little bit further and say it's something that we had before all this, that either we abandoned or somehow we lost or traded away somewhere in this swamp. Because education within itself, you know, it's like a meal. Sit down, and there may be some bones in it, but there's still meat in there. So it ain't like we can knock the whole education system. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The unlearning portion, going back to what I said, I think it's more what needs to be added to it, because education is going to be education. When you look at dollars and education and where it is, if we're gonna get a appropriate education, the real question isn't what we need to unlearn, it's what we need to learn and what needs to be added to it. And there's a lot of people out with great information for our history that needs incorporated into what we're learning now as far as education.
Exactly. And Leonard says, I'm going to go to Donna. Donna has some issues with his mute button. But Leonard said something earlier, and he said, and it was absolutely powerful. And I don't think we spent enough time on it, and we need to get back to that as well. He said that, yeah, you go to school and you learn different things, but when you go home, there's a responsibility that the parents and the community has. He didn't say the community, but I know that's what he meant. But that the parent have in order to make sure that the children are getting the right education. Because if they're at school, if little Jimmy or little Tanya, they're at school and they teach them that Christopher Columbus discovered America, they come home. And what you learned today? How was your day? They say, well, we learned that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Hold on, come in, have a seat. Let me talk to you for a second. So how often are we taking that responsibility? Because that was powerful when Leonard said that, and we hovered over it a little bit. We didn't stay there long enough. But I think that's something we need to discuss as well. We have to take a certain responsibility. First, we have to learn, and then we have to spread it to our household, to our children, and to the people in the community. Donna Toussaint, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning. I got that mute button.
Good deal. Good deal. What do we need to unlearn about the school system?
I mean, you know, first of all, I mean, we have to go so far back to unlearn, because first, I think somebody said it way back then. You have to unlearn who you are, because they taught you that. They taught you who you are. How you gonna get the slave master to tell you who you are? That's the first thing. You're not that. You know, black is an ugly color. With the slave mentality, unlearn all of that, and then once you get to America, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. I'm trying to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. That's the first lie.
Yeah.
Throw that out.
Mm-hmm.
Throw that out.
Yeah.
Now, and let me jump forward again. I'm a ramble for a minute. Let me jump forward because we're finding out now 2 plus 2 ain't 4.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? Okay, let me go back again. We were not part of their school system. We were engrafted into what they were learning so that we could learn what they're teaching for superiority. Throw that out and go back to what Leonard was saying. Sit at the dinner table like we used to and talk.
Yeah, yeah.
And teach each other and teach our children and nurture our children up in the way that we want them to be so that they can be somebody. Because if you look at it, we are the inventors, the creative minds. We don't necessarily, well, not know necessarily. We can do without a lot of people that we depend on. We can function all by ourselves. I know they don't want us to, but we're not asking. We might need to throw away the mentality that we need to ask somebody to be something and do this thing self-sufficient. Because when we sit at the table, what we were able to do is so much more than we can do now with all the technology and everything else, because we want to depend on somebody else that don't want you to depend on them. They want you to do your own thing, and then we say, okay, it's back and forth, tick and tack. I wish I could put together what I want to say, but it's like they want us and don't want us at the same time. If somebody don't want me and want me at the same time, I'm going to eliminate you out of my life altogether.
Yeah. Exactly. Period. Let's go back.
So we got longer. Go ahead. I just wanted to bring it in.
Good deal. Let me go back to the phone line. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Rodney.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is Pastor Collins.
Hi, Pastor Collins. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm pretty good, man. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. We're asking the question: what do we need to unlearn from the school system? What do we need to unlearn? Have we been, as Malcolm would say, have we been bamboozled by these school systems? Have we been taught things that are not conducive to what we need? What do we need to unlearn, Pastor?
Wow. Well, I don't know what all has already been said. I guess there's been a underlying presentation that we have a certain place and role that we have to be in, and which is oftentimes subservient to those of a lot of complexion. And I think we have to unlearn that. As a young boy, you can overhear a teacher saying, one day you may be president. You can be president, and they would say that to the black kids, but there was an underlying understanding that they really wasn't meaning what they were saying. And so I think one of the things that we can need to unlearn is that that the opportunity does present itself, but it does not present itself in the ways in which it was taught to us. We have to be better. We have to be smarter. We have to be more intelligent. And then the goal and the reward can be moved forward. And so I guess the unlearning is where we were taught that there's opportunities there, and you don't have to do anything but do what everybody else is doing to achieve these opportunities. We we have to unlearn that and really understand that this. Yes, we can achieve it. Barack Obama approved it. We can achieve it, but we have to be better.
Yeah,
we can't achieve it the same way that they achieved it. We have to do more, and they don't tell us that we have to do more because we have to be prepared for the finish line to be moved. There was a video I put on my Facebook page. This larger white kid and this smaller black kid was doing this tug of war, and the larger white kid really had the size to maneuver the little black kid, but the little black kid was wearing him out. I mean, he was yanking them all over the place. And he got to his base, got to his finish line, and that's all he was trying to do: drag the opponent to the finish line. We got to the finish line. The white school teacher came up and said, "No, that wasn't the finish line." And so you could tell that the fight went out of him. So the white kid then kind of drug him back across the yard and doing tug of war, drug him back across the field and got to the same finish line that the black kid got to, and he won. And so we have to understand that for them to say that yes, you can be the next president, we gotta fight hard.
Yeah,
we gotta fight hard. It's not as easy as they make it seem for us. And so we gotta unlearn anything. We gotta unlearn that mantra that all I gotta do is just do enough. Now we gotta do more.
Exactly. And that goes right back to what our grandparents used to tell us all the time. You have to be twice as good. You have to be twice as good. Concentrate, do this, and you always be at your best. Because you have to be twice as good. And if you have a bad day or whatever, it could take you way on back to the starting point all over again. When somebody else have a bad day, they just knock them back one peg, if at all. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. How everybody doing?
Hey, doing good. We're asking the question, what do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school system? Rico, what do you say to that?
We need to unlearn trusting the European point of view of it. Some of the things they said are true. One of the things they said is all men are created equal. That's true. All men, women, all humans are created equal. But what they didn't tell you is that they didn't believe in it.
Wow.
So that they tricked us when we started being taught that at a young age. Yeah, the sky's the limit, but they didn't know they didn't tell you they were going to have people in place that didn't want you to achieve those dreams, or that they would do anything possible, including using the government and creating laws to keep you from congregating. So we really have to unlearn the history, this fiction that they created to fit their narrative. We have to understand that European scientists and psychologists came up with a theory that intelligence was determined by race. Ain't that something? So now here it is. These same people are teaching those that they feel like they are superior to an equal education, that men are created equal, and then in God we trust, and everything good and nice, sugar and spice. They teach us this, and they go by a totally different model, or they act a different way. And so on. We have to unlearn the trust that we have in the government, and also unlearn the misinformation that superiority exists between humans. Because that's one of the biggest misconceptions, and it's the creation of race hating, racism. Is when you start saying that some humans are more intelligent or more privileged than others are chosen. So we have to unlearn that, because it is subconsciously instilled in us over decades, and over centuries, and over generations, and it was enforced by laws. It was enforced by brutality. It was enforced by consequence, repercussions for meeting, trying to read, for trying to do anything basic that a human would want to do. Not anything, but a lot of things basic. These people were punished for it. So, we have to unlearn this we are less than mentality, because some of us do feel like that, which actually sometimes creates that class of uppity niggas that we talk about.
That's good. That's good.
The one that adapted to that European culture and accepted that as the norm and the standard, and then looked down on everybody else that didn't walk talking that way, even though you still living right next door to me.
Wow. Let me go to Christy. Christy, what's on your heart? It's a lot being said to them. I'm really appreciating this. What's on your heart, Christy?
You know, I appreciate the conversation, and you know, everyone is saying things that are true. And I want to go back to what Leonard said, what you said, because I didn't hear it, but what you brought out, and saying that it's the responsibility of the parent to make sure that your child is being taught. And, you know, for me, you know, I understand it all too well, because, you know, when my children are going to school, you know, I have to correct them on some things that they're being taught. But then you have to look at, though, it's a lot of people that are in the community that have children that don't know. They simply don't know.
Yeah.
They're unlearned themselves. And so if you unlearn, how can you teach your child or anyone else the truth? And I want to go back to segregation. You know, because there's a difference. If you look at the Black community before segregation, there was a Black pride that was there. That was that strong, bold pride that I'm Black and I'm proud. It was that pride. I'm intelligent and you can't hold me down. Like, I'm going to get it by any means necessary. It was an attitude. I can almost, if you go back and you kind of look at the trends of African American people before, like during segregation and after, you will see the change, because we went from our education system where we're being taught what we needed, and we're learning, and we're having those African American teachers that care and love us enough to do what we need for ourselves, the push, the motivation, the talking about Black people, the things that they have done. And you go into this, now you're segregated and you're not being taught those things. You, instead of you being uplifted, you are talked down to. Instead of you saying you're smart, you're just a dumb nigga. Instead of you hearing, oh, well, you have accountability of choices, now you hear, well, you might as well just be a janitor, or you're setting your goals too high. Where the teacher pencil whoop you with grades, you had an A, but because they want salad and eval, they'll give you a C, not that you deserve it. So we have a lot of things in a segregated system that puts us down, that makes us feel as though we are unintelligent and we cannot do the things that our counterparts can do. So there's a difference in the way that we're being taught. And I feel like that has a lot to do with our pride that we have, even as adults. If you look at those who grew up in a segregated education system, their mindset is totally different from this new generation who grew up in a segregated, in an unsegregated society, and their mind frame is a lot different. That's why we have a lot of people that can say, well, Trump is not that racist, or Trump is not all bad, because you have been conditioned to look at that as though that is positive. Because if you look at education, it's just like Trump. It'll do stuff and then hide its hand, or say things and, oh, well, that's not what it was meant to do or meant to say. So yeah, we have to unlearn all that and get back to our roots of who we are. And we have to teach our community, like the ones that don't know, we need to get them educated and knowing who they are, so we can produce some very outstanding children.
Good deal. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart? Jamie, coming to you next.
I've listened to the various points of view, and I hope people are listening, because one, this is a lot of the reason why I have changed how I teach in the community. So if you've never been in a community where I've been speaking at or what have you, my main goal is to separate that slave-minded individual from the pack, to get him to understand you must change. Ain't nothing else gonna change. You gotta change. You making it hard for yourself.
See, if you don't, people talk about the truth, and then you go teach the lie that you prefer. See, that we all kings and queens. No, you're not. That don't even work in nobody's system. That logically does not make sense, and it has with something you say to make yourself feel better. But when you go get the truth, you'll realize everyone was not a king or a queen. So if you go teach the truth, it's not the truth that you prefer, because then you become just like the oppressor. You pick and choose what you want to make you feel better and make you feel superior, and ignore everything else as if it does not exist. See, that knowledge that you prefer is no better than the knowledge that the oppressor prefers. But when we go to find out what the truth of the matter is, you get to choose whether you're going to accept it or not. If you don't want to be free, go tie a chain to your leg and go sit in some white person's backyard if that's what you want to do. But that ain't everybody's reality. That is not an absolute truth. It may be a little truth in what you think, but it ain't absolute. But if you don't care anymore to go research it further, then you're going to be just like those who learn the less, have the less, and have to accept what is given to them. Because you won't go get it yourself. No, the white man ain't supposed to teach you the truth. Why would he have an interest in teaching you the truth? It don't make sense. You can't teach a slave he's free and then keep him a slave.
That's good. That's good. Hold 1 second. Let me go back to Jamie, and then we're gonna go back to our pastor, and we got another caller. We're gonna go to that call. As a matter of fact, we got another caller from the 256 area code. Let me do that first. 256 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Renita. I'm Rico's friend.
Hey, Renita, how you doing?
Call in and say, good. How are you?
Doing well.
I just want to say it's not necessary that we have to unlearn. We have to deprogram our community. Because remember, it was programmed into us to be this way when our ancestors came over on the slave ship, and our Native American ancestors. We was programmed this way. In order for us to get the education that we need to petition the State Board of Education to put our history in those school books. We need also, as a community, to educate our young people coming up. Me and Rico both are from Hudson City, and we was taught that what our history was growing up. So it's not only just the responsibility of the school system, it's the responsibility of the community to educate us on our history. And we also got to research our history, because there's a lot out there that we don't know that's in the book, that's in those books. So I would say deprogram versus unlearn. And I'm also a big believer of that. Any child that's of the Black race should go to a HBCU, even if it's just for 1 year, to find out who you really are. Because that 1 year, your freshman year of orientation, it teaches you who you are and who your roots. And that's all I got to say. Y'all have a great day.
You have a great day. Thanks for calling. I definitely appreciate you. Jamie, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, I think Leonard and my sister made a very good point, because when you look at knowledge, and I said that earlier, Raheem, about adding to the curriculum versus what trying to unlearn it. And I like the term to use, deprogramming. But the bottom line becomes this. You know, we live in a society today where we're talking about going back and all that. But the reality is, when it comes down to education, if you're going to be as good as, which is what we said, you got to be twice as good. You not only got to know what's right, you got to know what's wrong. You know, when you take a test, it isn't always knowing the right answer. Sometimes you can know what the wrong answer is, so you can choose the right answer. The knowledge that's being taught, we need to be able to use that to our advantage. Until a person shows you how they think, you're not going to really know how to deal with them or what to expect from them. We have an advantage. When they used to say you got to be twice as good, we knew where we came from and we knew where we were going. All they could see was where we're at. The difference today is we've lost that focus, that being twice as good. Some of us today, you can't tell us anything. We're so divided on issues about how Black we were in the past that we can't see the problem in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are so blinded by the problems in the present, we can't plan for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to education, it isn't necessarily what's always in the book. The things that I think a lot of things that we were taught or our parents were taught, it wasn't so much that they knew all the lessons, as one of my sisters alluded to. They didn't know all the lessons, but they had learned some things that was more valuable than what was in that book,
mm-hmm.
which is what made them embrace the education that was available to them.
Absolutely.
We just gotta know what we know and use it to our advantage and keep rise to the top.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a great conversation. We got another caller from the 205 area code. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Annie from Mississippi, but can you come back to me pump some gas in my car?
Okay, I certainly will. Bishop, what's on your heart right now?
Good morning, man.
Good morning, sir. Man, look at this. This is getting good, ain't it, brother?
Hey, I'm hearing.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I got a rebuttal,
mm-hmm.
but fill me in, please.
Okay, go ahead. We're talking about what do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school system? What do you say to that?
What we need to unlearn from the school system?
Yes, sir.
I don't think we unlearn anything from the school system. I think we need to increase our learning.
Mm-hmm.
We need to gravitate ourselves to what we need to know beyond what they're only teaching us.
Mm-hmm.
They only teach you what they want to teach you, or what's, quote, allowed for them to teach you. Like February is Black History Month. All we get is a month.
Mm-hmm.
But there are 12 months in a year. All we get is a month, which is the shortest month of the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
My son and myself, of course, I'm always doing research and studying. And if I hear a name, then, I got to go back and check that name out, check who this individual out. People don't know who the first black U.S. Marshal was, which was Bill Reese.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first black U.S. Marshal appointed by Judge Parker. Well, everybody knows Judge Parker was a hanging judge.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, how many of us know that? I go along and I take it upon myself to educate myself, because they're only going to give you what you want to give you. When we talk about our heritage, I'm recalled when Kunta Kinte, who was changed his name was changed to Toby because he kept running away. That's his slave name. He began to tell his daughter Kizzy, who then told her son Chicken George, who then told his son George and Tom, who then took information on time. We have to pass that information down. Let's not wait on the school system to feed us knowledge and understanding. We need to educate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they didn't want blacks to learn how to read, so different ones took their time or took out their own time to try to learn, to stand and watch, so that they can get the knowledge that they need in order to succeed. So I love what the young lady said. I agree with what she said. I agree with what Jamie said. Most definitely Leonard said. Those who have heard speaking, I agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm going to say this, because all the knowledge that I have, I had to learn it. I had to apply myself. As blacks, we have gotten complacent and started saying it don't matter. I don't care. We then start turning to different vices, crack, cocaine, marijuana, liquor, whatever, so that can be our comforter, also our escape from the reality of what we're facing. But the reality of what we face is still there. So now we got to get our minds right. We got to reprogram our mind to want better, to be better, to think better. Martin Luther King said this: if you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper there is.
Mm-hmm.
No, we got it, man. I ain't studying this street. I'm only going to pick up this. I'm going to sweep that. But you want to be the best that you possibly be. Regardless of whatever career or path you chose, you be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned what I learned from the school system. But then I went back and I learned more for myself.
That's good.
Success, knowledge brings about success.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be successful in who I am, what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, to God be the glory, and thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pastor Collins, what's on your heart? Everybody mute your line so we don't have background noise coming through. Mute your line for me so we don't have that background noise. Pastor Collins, what's on your heart?
I think everything that's been said is beneficial and right on point. I do want to add to it, add to what I said earlier. That is, another thing I think that we need to focus on unlearning. We've been taught subconsciously and specifically to not get along with one another as Black people.
Mm-hmm.
We've been conditioned to be separate, even in this political season that we find ourselves in. I mean, my God, man, with everything that's going on, it's mind blowing to me to see any blacks to support this president and be passed through the air over people's heads and through commercials and stuff. So we've been conditioned to be against each other in our own race. And so one of the things that we got to unlearn, and that was kind of subconsciously placed in us from grade school on up. It's just a competition, blacks among blacks. And so we gotta unlearn that. We gotta get to the point that we understand we are all on the same team. We're all trying to accomplish the same goal. And I just feel that we can get to the point where we learn how to support one another.
Yes.
See, we were taught not to support one another. We get to the point where we can learn how to support one another. Then I think we can begin to see some things turned around. You know, they subconsciously taught us how to be distant from each other. They pit us against each other in school and academia and all that kind of stuff. And so we gotta learn that we are our brother's keeper.
Yes.
We are responsible for each other, and we'll begin to see some change. But I tell you, man, it's a hard road to toe.
Yes, it is.
We just gotta make that our purpose and our goal in life to unlearn that mindset.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm about to get off here, but I'll continue to listen.
Good deal. Appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you, Bishop. Okay.
All right.
Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Let me get this thing off mute for a second. I feel we need to, not only do we need to unlearn, but sort of going back to what Leonard said earlier, we need to make sure we give the absolute truth. We can re-educate and teach our youth what they need to get by and teach them all the education that the school system doesn't teach. But we also got to let them know that they're gonna come across some adversity.
Yes, sir.
Good opportunities, good possibilities that they will. They may run across some racism. They may come across some sexism, or they may just come across a little hate from their own because they have been misprogrammed to compete with their own, going after them crumbs that Thomas Jefferson said that we fight over.
Yep, the colorism. The colorism.
They've been misprogrammed. But we have to look at the elephant in the room. A lot of our youth, they look at white culture, white society, or they look at the elite black society, and they ask their ancestors, their elders, well, what happened? What's going on? And we don't thoroughly tell them what's going on. And so, we have people feel like, well, you know what, man, if you just get the right education, there's no excuse. But if it was that easy for us to pass our education down to our, I'm gonna say our offspring, then we know our original language and know our original history. We would know our original religion. So that was some kind of entity, some kind of force put in place. We didn't conform, I'm gonna say naturally, we conformed forcefully. They made laws that would lock you up, kill you, and hang you for trying to read.
Yeah.
So some people did want to read, but some people didn't pass it down to the offspring because from the very beginning, you was beaten or killed for trying to pass that offspring down. So it wasn't that easy. The elephant in the room is that confidence has been beaten down out of our culture.
Yeah.
It has been beaten down, and then it wouldn't pass. It wouldn't pass down to the youth. Look, this is what happened. You might look at your ancestors, you might look at the elders and say, hey, y'all dropped the ball. Y'all got this slave mentality. Well, the slave mentality wasn't a choice. The slave mentality was beaten into them over hundreds of years through fear, through lynching, through having your babies taken and fed to alligators, any kind of brutal thing you could do just for gathering up in a crowd, congregating. Legally, think about legal lynching. Now, who's going to defy the laws of education? Curtis said something earlier about the visual representation of stuff. When you get that visual look at it and then you know better, well, imagine seeing the consequences of those that wanted to educate somebody, but they weren't supposed to because white folks told them not to. Imagine the consequences. Imagine that vision you saw when you knew these people left a pile of ashes of a human being and a head on a stake.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that, and you and your friend walking through town, and y'all seeing this black head and this black body burned in a pile, all because he wanted to teach, or maybe he didn't want to spend money in town. So it was a system in place that refused to let us and our ancestors have that fair opportunity at a proper education, or to get away from the education that they limited us to learn. So we have to also be mindful, be respectful. I actually just went live before I came on here and said something about that. We got to actually give our ancestors and our elders some kind of respect, and at the same time some compassion about the times that they lived in, because they didn't have the choices that we had, and we still don't have the complete choices, because if you get too big for your britches around here now, they'll knock your head off. I mean, and you could be the leader of a country. I thought about this earlier. I can't name one black nation that has a full-fledged military.
Wow.
Not a tank, jet, a nuclear bomb, or nothing. Name one black nation that has a full-fledged military. If it is one, it's very small. And that lets you know this ain't just in America, this worldwide. This miseducation and this forceful oppression. That's a whole nother issue that we still have to get past. And we can't get criticized for acknowledging that atmosphere exists.
Good deal. Let's go to Annie. Are you available now? You don't fill the tank up?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning to you. We're talking about what do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school system? What do you say to that?
What do we need to unlearn?
From the school system. What has the school system taught us that just wasn't right, and we need to unlearn it?
That's a hard question. But I want to just piggyback off what I heard a couple of people say about education, how very important it is to us. And I say every day, because I'm going back to school right now. To get my real
has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Hold on.
Peter.
Okay, go ahead. I was trying to call this brother back in. Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay. Education is very important, and I was
forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Raheem, are you okay this morning?
I am. I'm trying to call somebody. I was trying to call them back in. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
It's so very important to be, to get educated. People can take things from you in life. In life, you lose a lot of things along the way. But what you learn, people can never take from you. When you are educated, when you know what you know, that's the one thing that the world cannot strip you out. Me going back to school at the age of 54 years old, I was hesitant about doing it because most of the people that I am in class with us, almost the age of my grandkids almost. So,
please give a name.
Go ahead, get me, Anna. Go on, say it. You okay?
I hate that word. I hate that word. But it's the thing we have to do is know who we are and know what you want to do in life. We can conquer any Goliath in our path, Raheem. All we got to do is prepare ourselves. People can't tell you what you can't have, where you can't live. Those are the other days of old. We are a whole new breed right now, and there's so much out there for us to grab a hold of. So, if it takes time, a year or two, do what you got to do. But, like I said earlier, when you learn what you learn, the world cannot strip you of it.
Exactly.
Know your identity. Know who you are. You are valuable.
That's good.
You are valuable. And then I don't care how much other people have. If you want something in life, go after it.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what your neighbor have or whatever. I can have whatever I set my mind to.
Good deal. Donna Toussaint, talk to me, brother.
I just wonder if since we're
forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Okay, go ahead.
Where we are today, as we look at it, I think the playing field is just about equal. That's just me. Here's what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn whatever you want to learn because nobody's going basically to school. We can't be handed anybody's personal mindset or doctrine as far as religion is concerned. You can teach your own family what you want them to know because we're homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
So being dependent on somebody else to get and become who you want your children to be is up to you individually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were grafted in, and I say this again, I guess I say this again, we were grafted into the school system by a desegregation or whatever it is. And one thing about that is when everybody was protesting and marching and trying to go to school, we had one across the street.
Mm-hmm.
But after school, again, we sat at the dinner table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And talked to one another.
Mm-hmm.
Family unit was tight. And we learned from each other. And now, here we are. You can Google anything you want to know.
Yeah.
You can look it up.
Mm-hmm.
The information is out there. So you can't say, I can't learn something or what you want to know. If you don't agree with what they're teaching, let me say this and I'll shut up. Somebody once told me, I was in, as a matter of fact, it was a seminary. He says, you may not agree with what I'm teaching, but in order to pass the test, when I give you the test, put down what I say. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we got to learn how to be sifters.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout, we can still pass the test and still be rightfully educated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with everybody's doctrine. I search it out myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that I can, develop and be, I guess what I'm trying to say is I have my own mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm even wrong.
No.
But if I go to pop, yeah. we gotta deprogram ourselves to let us know that we not always right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
some of the stuff that we think is right has been wrong for all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And we stuck on stupid and don't even know it.
Exactly. Stuck on stupid, riding on dumb, on our way to ignorant. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Your brother and servant, Brother Pete, if you're talking to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pete, good morning. How you doing?
You're doing well, sir. How about yourself and your family?
Doing good, man. We're talking about today, and everybody saying, Raheem, you messing up there. I was trying to call Brother Pete, because you had called, and we missed the call, and I was trying to get you back in, kept going to your voicemail, and it was wondering what the world was going on with me. I was trying to call my Brother Pete back in, man, and I want to ask you this question. What do we need to unlearn from the school system?
White supremacy, the influence and inducement of white supremacy, the predetermined mindset of white supremacy toward us as a people. Doing for self, we need to go back to doing for self. We talked about, one of the brothers mentioned when we had desegregation. Okay, that was just another form of indoctrination.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go back to really, again, embracing, we talk about it all the time, the truth. Mm-hmm. We've been in a lifelong struggle like the lions and the hyenas with the Caucasian European race. It didn't just start in America. We have to understand the mindset of being on top, being first, controlling and owning everything and dominating others. We have to really understand that when we were doing for ourselves, we were better off. And we understand doing for ourselves. All of us on the phone, bathe ourselves, feed ourselves, maintain ourselves, take necessary steps to stay safe. We continue to enlighten our intellectual properties and stimulate them. We do all of these things individually. So we do understand doing for self individually, but we don't understand
name, number, details.
Go ahead. I was trying to call Bishop back. Go ahead.
We're not understanding how to do it collectively. We do
Mhm.
understand how to do it individually.
Mhm.
But to go back to the question, what we need to leave with this indoctrinated, induced form of education is we need to leave white supremacy.
Mhm. Now, would you say that integration was good or bad for us as a people? What do you say to that?
I say integration, it has its positives and negatives,
Mm-hmm.
but as a whole, when you weigh the whole matter, I see it as negative. We
Mm-hmm.
stop doing it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We start relying more so on others, that has proven to be to our detriment. Currently, today, with the income that we bring in collectively, where's the ownership?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the land ownership, the business districts, the economic districts? Where are the businesses, the corporations, the mass of manufacturing inputting on an international scale of doing commerce?
Mm-hmm.
So we do these things for corporations. We're designing cars for manufacturers. We're doing major investing and holding billion-dollar portfolios and managing them for people through other companies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're making millions of dollars working for other people. But where is our individual and collective ownership?
Yeah.
So that we're participating and existing on an equal playing field. Let's be clear. The mindset of white supremacy is to not have a equal playing field.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Jamie, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Listening to my brother, the thing with white supremacy, I think we have that backwards. White supremacy isn't a mindset for us, that's a mindset for them. So we spend so much time concerned with their mindset that we not focusing on ours. Somehow the comment made about we don't have this and we don't have that, that is the focus that we should have. Not so much looking at what they have. Even when there are certain mindsets of certain schools that they ask for land to go and do their own thing. They didn't look at what they didn't have. They looked at the opportunity to have. As long as we are looking at the mindset, and every time I hear that word white supremacy coming out of our black mouths, we are reiterating the problem. At some point, we got to look beyond the problem and start looking for the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution isn't in the fact that white supremacy exists. That's not even the problem. It's a good thing that it's known. What if you didn't know it existed? We'd be years behind. So the fact that we know that now, we need to move beyond that. That is almost like a mute point. We done beat that horse to death. Now we need to somehow figure out, where do we go from here? What is our next move?
I agree in part with what you said, Jamie, but at the same time, the term white supremacy, it also has been so deeply embedded in a lot of people that look like you and I, that they can't shake it. They go ahead.
Not the term though, Raheem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the term. It's the mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and the mindset isn't the white supremacy mindset that's to be a concern with. It's our mindset. What has it done to us?
Mm-hmm.
So if we start looking at it from that perspective, then we can address our problem, the issue, the residual of it, the impact of it.
Mm-hmm.
But to just keep calling what it is and the fact that is that, I mean, when do we start sitting down to get beyond or
when do we
come
get
up with a
past it?
solution
When do we
to
get
the
past
impact
it?
of
Mm-hmm.
that is hate?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. Let me go to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart concerning that? Mute button, Rico.
Trying to get it off mute again, man. I mean, that is still the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
It exists, and like you said, I agree. We have to find out solutions. That's what I really love mainly about these conversations. So sooner or later, you have to get down to, after you identify what the problems is, what's the solution?
Mm-hmm.
So I like what Annie said earlier about preparing, because that's something like what I alluded to earlier. We can encourage our children to be educated, to go out here and try to be the best them they could be. But along with telling them that they got to do it and be twice as good or work twice as hard, we got to prepare them that, hey, they might have to fight too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Might have to fend for your life. I mean, it's just so many different angles, but, we can't deny that white supremacy doesn't exist because our situation is a result of a trickle effect of a system. I was looking at how the Bloods and Crips came into formation, right? And I wondered to myself, well, how did they have all these bylaws in this Constitution? How did these little young dudes have this sense to organize the way they did? Then I realized that most of those guys were children and siblings of Black Panthers from out there in California.
Yeah.
Looking to try to do the same thing, but they went and drifted in a different direction because they lacked that leadership. That leadership was taken from them intentionally. That was a trickle effect.
Yeah.
Blood and Crips didn't get created and turn the way they did because they wanted to. It was promoted for them to have those options to go that way. If you don't have access, then you can't get the proper education. We say our parents, it's the responsibility of the parents to reinforce the education of the children. What kind of education you think the parents got? What kind of education you think those parents got? So out of every 15 households, you might have one that can not only teach their child a proper education, but can reinforce them using their logic when they see something that don't make sense. If somebody tells you that Columbus discovered America or we discovered America, but then when we got here, it was people already here, and Webster's dictionary definition for for discovery, that don't sound right.
Yeah.
So now here it is, you're a strong-minded young Black man that has been told this, or Black woman. You've been told this, child, in school. Then you tell that teacher, well, wait a minute, teacher. I don't agree with that. How did they discover America? And it was people always here. Guess what Rico heard? Get out of class, you being disrupted.
Yeah.
So now the consequence behind that is that, sooner or later I start feeling like I'm smart, but I'm a class clown. I'm always getting kicked out, but I'm telling the truth. But they saying I'm being disrupted. So now we start getting titles, and like I said, if you have parents that may be luckily and educated and strong-minded enough to reinforce you to be positive and strong-minded, then you can get by that. When you come home, you can tell them they kick you out of class. You know what I'm saying? But if you got a parent that conforms to the system, they probably gonna listen to that teacher. Hey, I heard you being disruptive. Stop getting in trouble. Shut your mouth. I'm gonna whoop your butt. You get kicked out of that class again. So now here it is. You can't even speak your truth. And like Donald said, now you don't know how to discern from passing the test with this wrong information and then actually receiving it for truth.
Exactly. Got you. Man, I want to go to Donald Toussaint because we pulled back a lot of layers today, man. This is good. And if you all don't mind, man, share the broadcast on your social media too, because everybody need to hear this. If y'all don't mind, take an opportunity and share this broadcast on your social media. I'll call a friend, tell them to call in. We need to continue this conversation. This is a dialogue that I think is very important. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
You know what? And Rico brought up a point because I don't care what you learn at school. That's not really important. It's what you learn at home. I mean, again, I remember the worst thing at school would be when you seen that house coat, not necessarily all the buttons lined up, and walking down the aisle, down the hallway, because Mama was coming.
Yeah.
Not to fuss with the teacher. She was trying to reiterate what was taught at home. Be respectful. You go there to learn, not to act a fool.
Yeah.
As long as you right, I'm with you. Because see, we really didn't necessarily learn at school. We was given the instructions.
Yeah.
We learned at home. Our parents wasn't going to the club or trying to get the nails done or the hair done while we sit at the table trying to figure it out. they was helping us figure it out ourselves. And even if the teacher was teaching something that wasn't necessarily true, they was making sure, okay, you need to pass the test, but here's what it is. Kind of well, and we trying to figure out. You know, we used to play cowboy and Indian and Indian when we was growing up, because the cowboy was always the white. So we would. So that was a way of saying that, you know, they always pointed themselves out to be the hero in the dog fight. You know how they always had the Indians was the ignorant folks.
Yeah.
Well, we used to watch John Wayne and all of that kind of stuff. What I'm saying is, our parents was our teachers. We were a large family, but we helped each other. I mean, you know, we wasn't, you know, so smart, but together we made the difference. If we would learn to be more closely knitted, starting with the family, handed down to the children, I think our society would be a whole lot bit better, and we wouldn't feel like somebody else was superior to us.
Exactly.
It's good to be marching and protesting, but you got to know why you're doing it. And after you finish that, you still got to carry it out. And one more other thing. We need to learn the laws of the land. We got people that know how to break laws and get away with it. Starting with 45.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm just saying.
Good deal. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
You know, I'm listening, and I'll also, you know, I know when I have to, I put it like this, and I'm not known for my, I guess, kindness when it comes to certain things. I don't have no sympathy for you.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
I just don't. I don't blame my problems on other people. I don't attribute my failures to other people. I mean, I don't know where some people get their morality from.
Coming to you next
week. How y'all been sitting in black churches and don't know no better? It just don't make sense. When did you become so freaking gullible? What glitch in the system is this? It makes it, if you want to continue to hold on to this that makes you sick, then you are going to die from it.
Good.
You can't be counting and putting your basket in the minimum. You fight against excellence in exchange for mediocrity, and then you act as if you actually got the right to be talking about what somebody else told you. You the fool.
Wow.
My mother told me when I was a child, if you sitting in a room and 10 kids in there and you don't get it, that's something wrong with you. Not some other man kids.
There it is.
I don't care what them people are teaching. You better be able to come out of there with a 90% or better. I don't care what they talking about. Now you'll sit there and you'll take that boy out there and have him dribbling that ball all day long.
Automatic voice
Teach him to
message
put more hours
system.
on the court and condition himself and everything to play basketball.
Come on.
And somehow you didn't teach him who he was.
Come on.
Miss me with all of this. God said, I told you what to do. I showed you what to do. I gave you precepts and concepts to follow, and you chose to go after them. You should have learned that before you left your house. I am black. I don't need to go learn how to be black. I am black. Sitting around here talking about as if these people were supposed to teach you how great you were.
What are they supposed to teach you, Leonard? What are they supposed to teach you?
You wasn't even supposed to.
two educations, one you get from your people and one you get from them.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't my fault you didn't teach your children. It ain't nobody's fault you didn't teach your children, but yours. Now, either you're going to come out and turn away from that foolishness and get right, or you're going to die from this sickness. This sickness about racism and white supremacy is not, it's not a existence or not. It is whether or not it is true or not, Negro. Do you believe that is true? Then that is where you're failing. It's not about what he's teaching, it's about what you believe in that's causing you to fail.
Mm-hmm.
All these black preachers and all these black folks around here, and you going to white folks to learn how to be black? Y'all better go somewhere and take, you know what, I tell you what, we're going to sell it. All y'all go down to the river, get naked, wash, cleanse, and come back and start over.
Brand new.
You can't hold on to that foolishness no more.
Good deal. Hold on. Leonard's on fire, man. Let me go to Pete. Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
Listen, identify the problem and then implement the solution.
Yeah.
It's going to take individual and collective responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. You ask the question, well, what should we unlearn? I say we should unlearn the influence, the inducement, all of that of white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, that's a projected system that is put in place to dominate. Mm-hmm. Now, we should have a system that's put in place to do what's best for us.
Yeah.
That's it. So it keeps coming back to our dear brother, I don't know the brother's name, but he came right behind me last time. He was saying, look, drop the whites. And I feel him. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
We have to identify the problem and then implement solutions. I mean, it's a talk show, so we're talking, but we definitely have to go to work. Yeah. The old Zion song said, my house is full, but my fields are empty. Who will go and work for me today?
Yes, sir.
It seems my children all want to sit around my table. A faithful few want to work in my field. So we need more field workers along the line of truth with individual and collective responsibility, with a determined mindset, self-determination, and to create and implement everything that is necessary and that can be conceived to the benefit of us first.
Exactly. Now I'm looking at my page. I don't see what nobody shared it, man. If y'all get the opportunity to share the broadcast as well. Make sure y'all share the broadcast on your social media. Invite your friends to tune in as well. Bishop, what's on your heart? Bishop? Bishop, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep. Oh, we just lost. I have to call him back. Let me go to Jamie. Jamie, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, I like what my brother said there, Raheem, and as you know, I normally introduce myself as Jamie Eatman on the Rise.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what we need, a theme, of people need to adopt their theme or whatever it is, that's their personal motivation. Because if we're going to go someplace, there needs to be something that we're constantly thinking. That way we're not caught off guard or drawn into some ignorance. We need to have a thought on our mind that when we're sleeping, our subconscious is dealing with that. We're feeding it these positive affirmations. I like what Annie said earlier, something to the point where we have or see a purpose or believe in where we are and our contributions. And the only way we're going to do that is like I said, we got to look beyond conversations like this, because when we keep highlighting the racism, we come together, that's our whole conversation. This same time could be committed to identifying a problem area in our community and just throwing some brainstorms out there as to what we could possibly do to solve it.
That's good. That's good.
You know, there comes a day when it's time to move forward, and we've had this conversation. We've had this conversation, and we're going to continue to have it. But let's at least throw some forward progressive thinking in there.
Good deal. Good deal. Bishop, what's on your heart, brother?
Raheem, excuse me. Is Tucson on the line?
Yes.
Okay.
Bishop, what's on your heart, sir?
Man, you see why I love Leonard. Leonard, man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I cannot and will not let anybody discount your strong words. Brother, you're profound in what you say, and that's the way I look at it. You know, we have a responsibility for ourselves. We blame everybody else for this, blame everybody else for that. But then when you gonna take accountability, when you gonna be responsible for your learnings, for your act? I don't care what master may have instilled in my forefathers. If they were ignorant enough to believe it and receive it, then shame on them. But I know better, and I'm gonna do a whole lot better. I'm not against us, but it's crazy how we are against one another. Envy, jealousy, strife within our own community. We're trying to destroy one another, denigrate one another, or destroy one another's character, and that's not cool with me. When I'm doing my best to try to build and better, young and old, black and white, and I don't have a racist bone in my body. So, you know, when I hear people talking strong and passionate like Leonard about what we really have to deal with, and Pete just as well. Pete is strong in what he says. I get excited sometimes when I hear Pete talking. Because Pete be like, man, he is raw, he is real, and he is rare. He's making it plain as the nose on our face.
Hold on, now you said three R's. What three R's you said now?
Raw, real, and rare.
Good deal. I want to make sure we didn't miss that. Go ahead, brother.
Anyway, man, you know, we I appreciate the conversation. It
Yes,
needs
sir.
to be talked about.
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna pass the buck and blame somebody else for my lack of. My lack of is my problem, my responsibility. And if I want to have better, do better, be better, I got to make myself better.
Good deal. Toussaint, unmute that phone. Talk to me, brother.
We're at the point. I got it out of my head of you. We're at the point. I remember when Dad would say what he said for the last time. He said, "If I have to repeat myself, I'm gonna bust you in your mouth." You know what I'm saying? We repeat ourselves trying to get the same solution.
Yeah.
Or to the same problem. When we already know the problem.
Yeah.
It's been going on for years and years.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice
and we
message.
looking for somebody else to fix. I don't look for nobody else to fix me. When we came back home, the lesson starts. Before we leave home.
Let me ask you a question,
the
O'Donnell.
lesson
Let me ask you a question. Rico presented something a little earlier, and I'm gonna go back to Rico after you get finished saying what you say. But what happens if, like I say, it could be a revolving door, and the child could go to school, learn something, and then come home, but the parent, for whatever reason, didn't get the education that they needed in order to catapult the child to a different level and expand or to explain some of the things that they learned in school. What happens in that instance?
You know, I am experienced of watching parents that are living their own life to the point where they have lost interest in their child. And they're trying to make it for an excuse to ignore their problem. If that makes any sense.
Go ahead, I'm with you.
I never seen my mom go to work. Not a day in my life. Dad would work one job. He'd give the instructions before he left the house. Mom carried it out. And it was reinforced when Dad got home. That was the revolving door. She wasn't trying to, she always kept herself up. But
Yeah.
her main concern was not getting her hair done and her fingernails and toes. We have lost track of trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to be movie stars. We can't use that as an excuse because you have the same opportunity as everybody else. We have internet, we have all kinds of information that's laid out. If you don't know how to pronounce a word, take your phone out, it'll pronounce it for you.
Yeah.
If you don't know, I have a 15-year-old nephew that he bought 2 cars and Googled and rebuilt the engine in his mama's garage. We don't have no excuse. We have no excuse for nothing. We can make up one, but it's not going to be good because it don't amount to anything.
Well, hold on.
So,
What does it amount to, Donald? What does it amount to?
A nickel worth of dead dog meat.
Okay. Leonard, we had to have it, brother. We had to have it, Leonard. We had to have it. We got a caller from the 470 area code. 470 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Raheem, I think that's me, Jamie. My other phone went out.
Okay. Got you. Good deal. Let me go to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm gonna always go back to you can leave a cow to water, but you can't make them drink. And
tell you what, you show drown.
And you know, one thing I learned a long time ago.
Rico, hold on. Rico, hold on for 1 second. Leonard, what you just say?
I'm just saying you can't lead them, make them drink, but you can drown it.
Lord, my Jesus. Go ahead, Rico.
But I noticed there are certain tactics that people use to teach. But everybody is not going to learn at the same rate. You have to use different tactics.
Yes.
But everybody has the propensity to learn, be great, be smart, but the environment might dictate that. I've seen over my years when I was in school and even since being older and watching other children, I've seen children come around that have the most potential in the world, but they have nobody in them around them to help them to tap in to that scholarly mindset that they have within them. So I look at, I've seen over the years, boys go out and play football, learn that playbook. Now that playbook is hard. I ain't gonna lie, a playbook is confusing and it's hard, but you got to really be interested and motivated, have an urge and a craving, a thirst to want to learn that playbook and memorize it so you don't get out there and make mistakes and get bent. You know what I'm saying? For you to play and get on that field, you got to learn it and be accurate with it. But they don't understand that the same tools, the same parts of the brain that is used to learn and retain information in education is the same parts of the brain that's used to learn that playbook.
Yeah.
So then you'll have parents that'll say, well, my child ain't good in school. They got a learning disability. Well, they couldn't have too much of a learning disability if they learn that playbook. So, I mean, that's a fault of the parent and the school. So now I go back to say that again. You can leave a cow to water, but you can't make them drink. Everybody doesn't have the access or the proper tools to teach. Now, like me, myself personally, I'm knowing that we're lacking this in our community. And I'm like Dawn said a second ago, I get tired of having the same talks over and over without coming up with solutions. So I made up my mind that I would reach out to a college professor down here at Talladega College and see if I could work with some of them to get a curriculum to spread to the younger generation so they could get some of this Black history, correct Black history before they even get to college. Maybe they could get some of it right now to counter what's going on, because I had that advantage. My household was one of the only households that had encyclopedias. So I learned for fun. I go through them books and just learn how to spell and look at words and learn different sites around the world just for fun, just from being curious. But everybody didn't have that access. And they didn't have the parents in their household or the grandparents, let me say. They didn't have the grandparents and aunts around them that thought education was important like I did. So they missed out. Maybe they had aunts that taught them to be bad and cuss and fight. And that's what they valued. You know, environment plays a big part in that. And we just can't really blame the individual, because if they don't know any better, they can't do any better.
Yes, sir.
It's up to us that do know better to spread that knowledge and share it.
That's right. That's right. Pete, talk to me.
We have to be the solution to the issues that we realize exist. And each one take on that individual responsibility, take authority and influence what and where you can. So do what you can, be the example, and affect those that you can affect, and let's work toward a better day.
Yeah.
But it's going to take the laborers. It's going to take us in the field. So we've identified some of the challenges. Now we have to counter those challenges with solutions that can lead toward a better situation. So everyone take courage,
Pete,
eat your vitamins.
Pete, let me ask you a
let's
question.
Go to work.
Pete, let me ask you a question, brother. We got a lot of people in our community, and people say this is probably an obvious question or whatever. It depends on how they look at it and where they're coming from and their perspective on life. But we have a lot of very wealthy people in our community, millionaires, billionaires, entertainers, athletes, or whoever it is, the Oprahs, Tyler Perry's, and all the list of athletes that have millions and millions of dollars. Why don't we own at this point in 2020? Why don't we have any banks and grocery stores, and why haven't they collectively come together and purchase these things? Because back in the day, that's what they wanted to do. What do you say to that, Pete?
Well, I think it's a twofold. If your mind is not there, number one, then there's no hope, because you're not geared toward any of that anyway. But then we want to understand how real power moves and how it influences and flexes on people. If you haven't had an occurrence, an occasion, an opportunity to sit down with real power, I'm talking the kind of power that sits across the table from you and tells you to your face what the rest of your life will be if you do this or if you don't do this. Okay?
Yeah.
If you haven't been privy to something like that, then we don't really understand. We look at these people and they have some monetary holdings, some stature, but then who's holding the power plays over that money, even over their position? One of the brothers brought up earlier about how where's the country, where's the person of color or the country that can withstand a blow from real power, that can mount a challenge against power, that has its own military, or has its own intelligence and fortitude and its own built-in means and ways to withstand a blow from an opposing great power. And when we look at ourselves and those of our kind, we don't see that. So that's a twofold question, but we want to understand that it's a struggle. When I talked about the lion and the hyena, that's what we're in. We're in a constant struggle. When one rises up to be the matriarch, the strong man on the other side will identify him and kill him. And then somebody else has to rise up. We have to wait until they get old. Either they die or we kill them when they're weak. And the saga continues. So it's a struggle. It's a battle. It's a war. It's a fight. We have to be in the fight. And we have to use our intelligence and in our faith to be able to overcome any obstacles that we're confronted with. So, but when you ask that question about the wealthy, is their mind geared that way? First of all, when you struggle so much and go through so much to get a little something, sometimes you just want to sit down and take a deep breath and depart from the struggle and just kind of put your feet up or try to relax a little bit and recover. And then if you're not overly influenced and drunk with the illusion of what you're holding and thinking that you've made it. So much is given, much is required. That's automatic. But where's your mindset? Where's your heart? Yeah. And then let's just be honest. Are you really, really, really willing to put it all on the line? Well, I was taught that revolutionary will without revolutionary skill will often result in somebody, probably you, getting killed. So we need to understand the merits in the arena that we're playing in, because it gets serious real quick when you're talking about power.
Yeah. That's true. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. Mute your phone for me there, Pete. There you go.
I was listening, and of course, like big shout out to big brother Pete, because I talk to Pete a lot, and we rap about things, and like one, Pete can handle that fire because he brings a fire that's even hotter, and I can't speak for other black people.
Mm-hmm.
However, I asked about Tucson because we were talking about on your show about the people of Israel wanting a king.
Yes, that was a powerful show too, man.
And this is the same concept with black people I'm seeing. You will rather run to the whip than discipline yourself. So you are beg for the whip to discipline yourself. Oh, well, maybe if it wasn't for the white man being so hard, we really? See, this is what the thing is. You don't want to be responsible for yourself. You want somebody else to blame for everything. So you want to pick people of you to blame. Because that is the way a lot of people go. It's almost like, one, you have no integrity. Because you can't behave unless you're under the whip.
Mm-hmm.
So you continuously run to the whip to save yourself from yourself when you ought to be going back to God and getting your life together.
Come on. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That's good.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches you that.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's your prophet. That's your prophet to who? The black man. That's for you. You better go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it will teach you to be obedient first. It will teach you that you must leave. If liquor is killed, you leave that liquor, leave them cigarettes, leave all that alone.
Mm-hmm.
Strip down.
Mm-hmm.
And the next time you put your clothes on, you make sure they right.
Exactly. And
You're
that's something.
Get righteousness from him. He don't have no
All circuits are busy. Please try your call again later. Announcement 8, switch 4, 1-3.
What the world is that? I don't know what that was, but
you keep running into this brick wall as if freedom, you just can't handle it. See, that's what the white man told you. That's why he said he had to be over you, because you couldn't control yourself. So he got to make you civilized.
And let me say this to you, Lynn, and I'm gonna equate that. I'm gonna equate that to sports, because a lot of people, and we referenced sports earlier. A lot of people say, and Jamie, coming to you next. A lot of people say for a long time, they say that a black man can't be a quarterback in the NFL. They said he don't have the mental capacity to be a quarterback in the NFL. He just can't do it. And they would not have a black quarterback. Warren Moon had to go up to Canada to play. And I'm sure there was a few before him that didn't get the opportunity. And then came Doug Williams, Washington Redskins. He played, not only did he play quarterback, he won the Super Bowl and MVP. Next year, he was out of the league. But now, if you look at the league, how it is right now, most of the best, a lot of the best teams that you have, have black quarterbacks. So what has happened? Jamie, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, Raheem. Raheem, I was just looking at a poem that I would like to share. I mean, I can even leave it a link or whatever, but there's two things that have been said, I think, that we really need to give some thought to. Someone made a comment about what our ancestors believed, and I think the word ignorant might have been used or whatever. But the reality is that in each generation that's come before us, they played a role for us being here today. And because they had something to keep them moving, keep them looking forward, I think it's what moved them. That's what moved them to their accomplishments. And today we need to come up with a peace of mind or a sense of achievement that we can work towards, that's going to move the generation coming behind us forward. Because right now, as I stated, we can look so much at the problem that we literally waste time and energy that could have been used toward correcting something, analyzing something.
Exactly.
There's a paralysis in analysis.
Good deal.
And we've been doing that for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a time where we need to move forward and listen to some of the things that said on here. And I've said this on a previous program. Just hearing some of the minds and the mindsets here. If some of us even just continue the conversation on that level,
mm-hmm.
the mastermind that evolves from the minds that come together, who knows what could be accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Curtis, good to have you back, brother. What's on your heart? Curtis, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up. And,
Raheem, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Because I want someone else to help me because some fathers on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my son had an issue yesterday. My son is scared of bugs.
You say you're
about 13.
Scared of what now?
Bugs.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I don't care where I'm at. If he see a bug, he want to come get me to kill the bug.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's very afraid.
Mm-hmm.
You afraid, but you articulate, okay? So he tells me I need to have more empathy toward his fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to, you know what I told him, and I want folks to chime in on it. I said, let me help you understand. Look how big you are. Look at that bug.
Yeah.
You're so scared, about to cry, and the bug is running from you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You scared of something running from you.
Yeah.
What you gonna do, son, when it's coming for you?
Mm-hmm.
You got to lose this fear of things that this bug's not gonna hurt you. You have everything you do to. All you get to shoot and kill him and end his complete existence, and you crying, standing 20 feet taller than he is.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing that black folks do to each other. If you go, you ain't got no business going over there doing that. Oh, them white folks gonna send you crying. Oh, them they do that. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Man talking one another.
Yeah.
Talking other people down. And that's why it's a shame you got to get away from your people to get ahead sometimes.
Yeah. And that's true. That's absolutely. Everybody mute your line. We got some background noise coming from somebody's line. Mute your line for me so we don't have the background noise. Good deal. Go ahead, Leonard.
And so it's hard when you look, especially when you talk to families that are separated and that have a lot of animosity towards one another and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is how you come into the world with these people.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all know one another. Y'all don't sit at the same table.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't share the same grandmother and everything.
Yeah.
But some get it and some don't. But it's not for those who get it to bow to those that don't.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense.
That's good. That's good.
At some point, I remember it clearly when black excellence became a bad word.
Mm.
They liked him to throw Bill Cosby out in the arena for telling them that they need to take care of their children.
Mm.
See, it don't matter where it comes from. Truth is what it is.
Yes.
It don't care nothing about religion. It don't care nothing about color or how you think things ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do not accept it, you're going to be continually tossed around, misused, taken advantage of, and everything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is now I'm not giving you a book. This is a basic Christian education.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in church all your life.
And yeah, I was about to say, and go ahead and tell them, Leonard, they've been in church all their life. This is something they should already know. Something they should already know.
You read the verses, oh, we're wonderfully made. You're the children of the king. You're this, that, and the other. And then somebody say, slaves, be honorable to your masters. And now the whole book got Forget all the other 99% positive telling you who you are. You took that whip and ran with it. Why I tell my son, don't make me have to whip you to make you do right.
Exactly. Curtis, are you with us? Curtis, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here, buddy. What's going on?
Okay, we actually we covered a whole lot today, and now we're to the point in the broadcast at 34 after 9. We got a few more minutes before we get out of here. Let's talk solutions, man. What do we need to do? How can we fix a lot of the wrongs that's in our community through the educational system, or what has been taught to us? What do you say to that, Curtis?
Well, first off, you gotta hold the iron to the fire, man. You can't run the race and then come around and you get the chance to go past and blow past and then take your foot off the gas. First off, you gotta keep your foot on the gas. That's number one. Number two, you can't take milks of a pie no more. We can't take crumbs no more. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, because crumbs don't feed a family, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Number three, you know what? We need to mandate that we need some real historians, some folks that's really in the history, that really have we need some real history teachers that's really going to sit down and draw a historical curriculum for the school system, period, and make that known. Nuke the doggone the higher education humanities class down, because it's a shame that these kids are getting to we don't even realize that we're creating almost a certain level of animosity and hatred, because then you get these kids to college and now you teach them the truth, and now the kids feel like, oh wow, hold on, I've been believing a lot. So you know what I'm saying? We need some real historians who ain't about that business of trying to teach a lie, to teach the truth and set a new curriculum for the American society and culture. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to continue to teach a lie, then you're going to continuously get liars' results. That's just what it is. So, you know, you can't be mad when you're teaching a lie, but you constantly getting liars' results.
Good deal.
You can't be mad.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Donald, what is the solution? What is some of the solution that you think of? Rico coming to you next, and we're gonna go around and touch everybody. So everybody be on standby. We're coming to you.
You know what? I was thinking as we was talking, we are people that adapt. Right or wrong.
Yes.
We can adapt.
Absolutely. Chameleons. Right? We're chameleons. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And survive and overcome.
Yeah.
So first of all, we gotta figure out where we are. And be self-sufficient, because just take for instance what was said, and use this for example, we shut up. We eliminate the dependency on another race or another people. Eliminate that. And then you got to eliminate the dependency on those that already have, because they're not going to give you anything either. We talk about why we don't have banks and we have all of these millionaires. And check their garage. They got 17 cars in it.
Yes, sir.
Wasteful. Selfish. You know, they're not going to give you anything either. So every household, every person has to figure out where they are and learn how to be another one that adapts to whatever situation. Just be the best you can. Because Tyler Perry, how in the world I'm going to go to Tyler Perry or Oprah? They don't know me. And if they did know me, based on who I am, they're not going to give me anything. So I'm not looking for nothing from them. So I have to go and figure out where I am and adapt. That's why I'm doing these new things that I'm doing, because I need to adapt from where I am and try to get where I feel like I need to be, and
still, I have people that are behind me, which is my family, and pull them forward too.
Exactly. Let me go to Rico. What are some solutions, brother? Let's talk solutions. We identified a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems, and a lot of the situations that's out there. Let's talk solutions for a second, Rico.
Well, one of the first solutions, even the gateway to even trying to start having a solution, is getting people to realize that we need a repairing. Because some people think it's all good. Some people right now, us Black people, living our best lives. We got our good jobs. We got our 6-figure, 7-figure incomes. We got our businesses. We got our nice whips. You know what I'm saying? 2,500 square feet homes. And we think it's all good. And what they doing to the next man, that's on them. You know. So some of these people don't think it needs to be no fixing. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first part, is convincing people that we need to sit down and come to the table and come up with solutions. Because they don't see nothing wrong. They don't see nothing broken. Nothing that needs to be fixed. And then the second part is, like I said a second ago, we got to keep our logic intact. The odds of us introducing something to a school curriculum is slim. But what we can do is take it upon ourselves to create a curriculum and do it on our own time. That way we take it out to school. We keep saying taking it out to school and then teach them at home. But then we're going right back and say, well, hey, let's make the school teach them what we want them to know. That ain't what they're going to do. We've been saying that from the very beginning. That ain't what they want to do. So that shouldn't even, that shouldn't be even in the equation no more. Unless you can get billions of dollars like the Koch brothers and gain some kind of political influence and start going around from county to county across the United States and influencing school boards. But other than that, you got to do it at home. Like I said earlier, me and the girl, the woman Renita that called in earlier, that's my business partner and my confidant. We are looking into starting a charter school.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You know what I'm saying? Because we know that education is there for us and is not available through the free education system that the state gives us. So we're going to take it upon ourselves to see. And the other problem, the other solution, and like I said, is getting people to the table. Because if we was on here talking about sports talk,
yes, sir,
or Cardi B, the lines would be blowing up.
Yep.
So they let you know they don't think it's a problem. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people, it's just a few of us that's even discussing this situation and even realizing that we need to come up with solutions. So, good. That's going to be one thing, is even building the momentum for people who want to accept Black excellence and understanding what they are considering excellent right now is not excellent.
Exactly. Jamie, so let's talk solutions, brother. What solution?
Well, I like a lot of what's being said here. The two brothers that went first literally said the same thing. One made an emphasis about how it's him and his family, his house. I didn't hear village. The brother that came behind him basically just addressed the aspect of the village. Somehow we need to come together and communicate the problem. Even if people can't see the problem, the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain so those who read it can run with it. If it's just those creative minds that come together with a concept, not everybody's going to buy into it, because some people, they got what they got. They ain't concerned about the next. There are others who have, and they probably would give to the right thing, or somebody they thought they could trust or whatever. There is a need, and to come together collectively, I think is where you got that mastermind, as I stated earlier. What comes from that will be that thing that is greater than all the minds at the table. And when we sit down with that intent and come up with a plan, I think that'll be a step in the right direction. And as you move forward, it's like any business plan or goal you come up with. As you move forward and something new arises, then you can adjust to that.
That's good. That's good.
At least you just got to start somewhere.
At least you got a starting point. Absolutely. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
We are very much at the freest probably we've really ever been. so many accomplishments have been made. And they've all been made by the people who wanted to accomplish something.
Mm-hmm.
The people who don't simply don't want to accomplish nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to sit here. I got a niece, right? I mean, a cousin, really young, graduated from school. She about 20, if she's 25, already an aeronautical space consultant.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good.
Making 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed by God. You
Yes,
understand?
sir. Yes, sir.
All of your people that have ever made it, righteous, blessed by God, they did everything despite what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so content to wait on somebody else.
Mm.
We keep them, we got to change that. No, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no we thing. We don't marry, you don't marry my wife.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have my children.
Come on.
So first of all, you got to get yourself around some people that got some standards. And if you ain't around them, create them. Mm-hmm. Me and my friends set out as young kids. You know what we not going to do? But here's the things that we're going to do. And we still playing Monopoly every Saturday night at 7 o'clock online. We still plan trips with one another to save that brotherhood and that commitment to human decency.
Mm-hmm.
What we not going to do is sit around with people making excuses and being mediocre and don't want nothing for themselves.
Exactly. Exactly. That's good.
White folks didn't give you sin. You had that already. You are created equal. All men are created equal.
Mm-hmm.
Racism happens. White superiority is a lie. We gotta understand what the system is about.
Mm-hmm.
Because now every poor child in America can eat. We have programs for people, Medicaid, and all these types of things for people who may have fallen short. It's called a safety net, and it provides the basic minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if you don't want no more than that, that's on you.
Got you. Rico, you wanted to say something else, Rico? Something else on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Yeah, I was getting interrupted by that trash truck, so I was trying to rush it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed over the years how really and truly the lack of courage and hope, not just access and knowledge, but courage and hope will make somebody automatically disqualify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just give up. So, that's one of the solutions is reaching those that have, like, when you see people making an effort towards something that's self-destructive, sometimes they don't even know it. They just react and not emote.
Mm-hmm.
They frustrated. They don't know where they're coming from. You have to find out how to connect with them. That's what I found myself doing. Connecting with those people, showing them how they can reinforce positivity,
mm-hmm.
go in a better direction, so they don't make the same mistakes I made. But you asked the question early, why don't we have in the bank? Well, we do have a few banks, but sometimes fear can be programmed and branded into you over generations based off of somebody else's visual experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought up earlier how I can't think of one black nation that has a military, but I can think of black enterprises like Tulsa that had the military of its own country used against it. Now imagine the effect that had on black people nationwide when it spread that the United States bombed this Black Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the fear, not only with the black laws and the law that they had on the books in the past that told people that they congregated, they could be harmed, or they could, if they looked at a person in the eyes, they could be lynched legally. But just hearing that, man, that can make you lose hope and fear. Ain't no need of me opening up no bank.
Yeah.
Ain't no need of me opening up my own business. All they're gonna do is bomb it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to go and counter that, rebuild that courage, reinforce that, and at the same time, like I said, we gotta respect the struggle of those in the past, because only a few people have courage to take the chance and risking their lives to do what's right. Most people gonna perform because they choose life, and when you choose life, you will take a lot of punishment, or you will settle. And that's what happens with the majority of us. Most of us have settled. We don't want to fight. How we've been hearing of is people fighting in the past. We don't want to try. It's a waste of time. Ain't no need of doing this, so it happens. We have to catch those before they fall through them cracks.
Exactly.
And let them know that they are great and they come from great people, and not to listen to this education or believe everything they were taught. Like I said, that's where people like me and my partners come in talking about getting that black curriculum and just giving it to the youth.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it'll pick up and become a trend. But we also know that for that to pick up, we're going to have to distract people with some superficial attractions.
Exactly.
We're going to trick them and get them in now. Then we're going to drop this knowledge on them. And every time I know how it goes, whenever people find out something that they didn't know and it means something, they're going to come back for more.
Yeah. They'll find the value in it. They'll definitely find the value. Bishop, what's on your heart? We're talking about solutions. We've addressed a lot that's going on. Now we're to the point where what are some of the solutions that we need to do so we can all move forward?
Well, one thing we need to get with one accord, start focusing on what we need to focus to better ourselves, and not call ourselves fighting against it. I was just doing some research as a brief talk. We're talking about black leadership, black government, black military, things of that nature. I thought about Bishop of Grenada and how he was thrown because he didn't want to adhere to certain things that were imposed upon them. So they had to execute. And anytime we try to stand up to move forward, there's always be one of us or somebody gonna try to knock us down. We got to get with one accord. Have the same agenda to fight for, certain things. Even though we're natural born, we're citizens here. Certain individuals don't look at us as such. So we can't reprogram their mind, but we can program ours to want better for us and to move forward as a nation. Go back to yesterday's subject matter, pledging our allegiance to a flag. And I don't pledge my allegiance to a flag. I do to this nation, but not to the flag. And when it gets to the state, liberty and justice for all, it can't come out of my mouth for some reason because I don't see the liberty and justice for all. So until we get to the mindset we need to really band together, work together to build and better within our community, man, we're going to be forever behind the 8 ball. So when I listen to Leonard speak, or Rico, or Pete, or Donald, I listen to someone speak, Kurt, when they begin to get on here and talk about what we're facing, Cassandra, then they're speaking from passion because they're tired of it.
Yes,
My son the other day said, Dad, we ain't going to put up what God put up years ago. We ain't going to just stand by and let them put their foot on our neck. And I said, I respect that, like that, but organize and work together. Because you are the one, and you got many, some say they with you, until you mess around and get out there and get hit with that rock. Then they're going to back off you. So that's all that I got to say about that, brother.
Good deal.
Great show as usual.
Hey, appreciate you. Hey, to God be the glory. To God be the glory. And what we was talking about today, we're actually about to get out of here. We're ending at 10 o'clock. We go from 7 o'clock until 10 every day, Monday through Friday. So make sure you come back and join us. Our topic of discussion today is, what do we need to unlearn? What do we need to unlearn from the school system? Does the school give us something that were not very beneficial to us? Did they teach us a lot of things that they wanted us to learn, but did not benefit us as a people? certain things. Christopher Columbus discovered America, just to name one that we talked about today. There's so many different things that's going on out there that we need to unlearn. We need to get together. We need to come together, and we need to pull our sources together in some kind of way. We need to figure out a way. We need to figure out a way that we can make this thing an absolute reality. An absolute reality. Jamie, what's on your heart before we get out of here?
I'm just enjoying what's been said here. Hopefully, we'll at some point get around to the right conversation or a deeper one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I think this was a pretty good one today, Jamie.
Great discussion.
Yes, sir.
You're right.
Yes, sir.
I can't knock that. Great discussion.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, and we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and and the topic was, do your prayers have feet? Do your prayers have feet? And that's so powerful, and I think it fits where we are right now. Do your prayers have feet? Because we've talked about it, we've discussed it, and we've addressed it all. We talked about a few solutions, but now we have to put some feet on it. We have to put some feet on this thing and make it go out there. And like Ray Charles say, like Pastor Ray Charles say, let it do what it do. Let it do what it do. Man, let me see who I'm gonna go to here. Bishop, what's on your heart?
Well, I spoke very plainly. I was just sitting here, man, just reading and some of the things you say. And I love these topics, man. I mean, you just come off the wall. But you got a panel of men and women that can't come here, man, and they're able to discuss these things. We're just trying to impart knowledge or make you go, that's something to think about. And the reason we walk around here in this world, man, with our eyes wide shut. We see, we don't want to say. We won't change, but we don't try to evoke change. Leonard is a part of a movement that's trying to evoke change, trying to get the folks' mind right. And I failed to say something about Jamie because I love to hear what Jamie says a lot of time when he's speaking. I like to hear him speak. And each one comes with a different perspective, and neither one is wrong. And I want folks to know, your opinion is yours, your perspective is yours. There's no right or wrong in your perspective. But what we got to do is get the mind of the individuals that are listening so that they can come forward, think better, so that they can have better and do better. You can't do right with a do wrong mind. But if you don't have the information that you need, then it's your responsibility. Don't blame the white man because you ain't got it. Blame yourself because you didn't go and try to get it. That's who you have to blame. You can't blame nobody but yourself. Well, they didn't teach us this in school. Well, I'm pretty sure you can do some research. If you start with one name, Harriet Tubman, and I guarantee you'll find other people's names who are attached to that, and then you find out what they did, who they are. Don't just stop with Harriet. Oh, Harriet Tubman, she was the conductor for the Underground Railroad. Well, then was she the only one, or was the Underground Railroad already established? She just came in and put a foot in. There was something already going on before she even did what she did. So they give her a lot of credit, and I respect that and like it. But at the same time, hey, let's find out who these other people were. Rosa Parks, she refused to get up on that bus. She refused to get up. Okay, that's good. But who was fighting? Who was doing a boycott before Rosa decided not to get up out that seat?
Bishop, and I'm gonna tell you something. There's another young lady. There's another young lady, that did the same thing that Rosa Parks did. Actually, before she did it, but she didn't have the face.
Yeah, she didn't have the face.
She didn't have the face, and so because she didn't have the face, she didn't get the same attention that Rosa Parks got. And that's something that we need to do something about that as well. If a person has a certain look, we'll give their situation and their issues a little more attention. And the ones that don't have that look, they don't get the same treatment. Because there was another young lady, and I want everybody, I'm not gonna put the name out there, but there was another young lady that did the exact same thing that Rosa Parks did. Before Rosa Parks did it, she wouldn't get up out of her seat. But she didn't have that same look that Rosa Parks had, and she didn't get the same attention. Notoriety.
Raheem.
Yes.
I love that. Man, that's to see how much knowledge that you have. People only look at certain individuals. But do you not know Medgar Evers died way before Martin Luther King did? They talked a little bit about him, but they talk more about Malcolm, more about Martin.
Mm-hmm.
But Medgar Evers, he died so the blacks can have the right to vote in Mississippi, so that they can have that latitude and freedom. He was shot in his own driveway.
Yeah.
At his own home.
Mm-hmm.
But what face are we looking at? Who are we talking about? Martin Luther King was a great man. I don't take anything away from him. But don't you know Medgar Evers was just as great?
Mm-hmm.
He was on that same campaign for equality for blacks. But yet we don't understand, we don't speak about those people in numbers. We don't stand up and talk about them. I ain't seen nobody wearing a t-shirt that has Medgar Evers' face on it.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll wear one that has Martin, they'll wear one that has Malcolm, but they don't wear nothing to talk about Medgar.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Exactly.
Let's wake up. This is what this call is about, brother. You're trying to wake them up.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. Go ahead, Donald Tucson. Close us out, brother. What's on your heart?
We have a puzzle with a bunch of pieces. All we got to do is put them together.
Yeah.
And you can't put the ends on the inside and think it's going to fit.
It ain't going to work. Ain't going to work. Ain't going to do it. Leonard.
Sir.
If you don't mind doing so, brother, tell us what's going on at 3:00 today.
If you did not get a chance to hear this in its entirety, log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3:00 p.m.
Good deal.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. That brother even threw in there the Eastern Standard Time, boy. Leonard is on it, doggone it. Now let me see, Bishop.
I'm right here, my brother.
Pray us out.
Yes, sir. All right. Heavenly Father, we come before you this present hour. Thank you, Lord God, for last night's rest, this morning rise, for the use and activities of our limbs. We thank the Lord, Lord, for DKM Media Group and Associates. Amen. How Raheem, Lord God, brings to flight the topics that we need to face and confront on a daily basis. We ask, Lord God, we have blessed DKM Media Group, bless Raheem, bless those who call in. Lord God, allow our minds to be acclimated to what we need to be focused on so that we can be better stewards, Lord God, for your work, for your will, and for your purpose. We ask, Father God, we have blessed those who are dealing with corona, any form of illness and or sickness. Bless those who have lost loved ones, comfort their heart and give them strength to continue to move forward. Bless those on the bed of affliction, those with trouble in mind, those who are oppressed, depressed, and are just in the midst. We ask, Father God, we are moving in a mighty way in your righteous name, Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. That must be a bishop right there. That must be a bishop right there praying like that. That must be a bishop. I ain't gonna say nothing, but that must be a bishop. Listen, it is 10:01. 10:01. We're about to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for joining us and bless you. And if y'all don't mind, do so, man. If y'all ain't done it yet, man, share this broadcast on y'all page. Do that for me if y'all don't mind. Everybody share the broadcast on the page so people can actually hear what we talked about today, because I think they really need to hear this. And keep in mind, tomorrow is Way Out Wednesday, we're actually talking about the Cube situation, Ice Cube situation. Was he right? Was he wrong for sitting down with Trump? That's what we're talking about tomorrow. We're gonna pull back a couple of layers on that particular topic. So if y'all not busy, make sure y'all stay locked and loaded. Call in and let's talk about this whole Ice Cube situation. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of different videos coming out there. The people are posting posting a lot of stuff, man. They really going in on Cube right now, man. And we're gonna talk about whether is rightfully so. Whether they're right in doing that. Are they right in the way that they're feeling for him right now? Was he right or was he wrong? What was his intentions? We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow. So if you get an opportunity, make sure you join us tomorrow for Way Out Wednesday right here at DKM Media Group and Associates on the Morning Glow from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, AM Eastern Standard Time. So it is now 10:02. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. take an opportunity, if you don't mind doing so, love somebody. You just might get some love in return. It's been a great broadcast. Thank you. Each and every one of you, thank you. Love you and love each other. Have a great day.